My father abandoned me for his new family.
Did they have like treats and games that were fun? I don't know.
I'm 15 male living with my mom since she and my dad have divorced. My dad just got married to a woman with 2 sons, 13 and 8 years old, and they all moved into her house. By the way, this comes from ST23MV, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. Where I'm currently living with my mom isn't great, especially compared to where my dad lives now. Even the schools there are much better. My school doesn't send students to T20, while this other school sends students to 20, so it's a huge difference. What does that even mean?
I think that's like a different, I'm going to look it up. There's like a different school system.
Yeah?
I think it might be
T20 and 20?
I think that might be like in England potentially. Let me
Is
see.
the alphabet involved? Because is A better in this scenario or T?
It's just you have to say T 20 times. Oh, top 20 okay, T20 schools.
Oh.
T20 schools generally refers to the top 20 universities in the United States. So they're saying that the schools that they could be going to usually send a lot of students to those top 20 places.
Oh, I see. So this school, so the school he's at, he won't get that many opportunities.
Right. It's like not as prestigious as like, it's like a pipeline to the creme de la creme.
Did I tell you about that kid that got a 5.0 and went to Yale full scholarship in my hometown?
No, 5.
Fun fact, Alexander County has the most racist high school in North Carolina. Just found that out the other day. I was like, wow, that's why I didn't go there, but that would have been my school I went to.
Oh, thank God you didn't go there.
Yeah, I know. John said, be the change you want to be. And I'm like, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. But anyways, but that kid made it out. And he was Asian though. And his mom,
basically a cheat code.
I'm just going to say it. His mom worked at Oriental Cafe. She had a restaurant called Oriental Cafe. And my uncle used to work
knew that
there.
the racists would eat there.
I guess so. That's why she named it that. And every time I went, one time in 3rd grade, I went there and I had a C. Okay, editor, add this to the end. Okay, story time. I have an okay story time I'm going to tell you later. Okay.
All right.
Add that part to the end. I got a C in 3rd grade and I went there and Helen was like, oh no, why are you so sad? And I was like, I got a C and whatever. And my mom was like, whatever.
Wait, they were giving you A's and B's and C's in 3rd grade?
3rd grade, yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Well, that's why I got a C. And then my mom told her that. And she's like, oh, you see my son over there? He's studying really hard. And he had like 5 books and he was like, had his head in one. And like his sister and his other brother was over there doing the same thing.
He had assistants?
Yeah.
He had educational assistants.
No, they were also studying their material.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure. They shared the same brain. They were a hive mind.
Probably, but he got a scholarship and somehow got a 5.0.
Well, congratulations. I didn't even know you could get a 5, but I thought 4.0, like 4 point something. I knew you could get a little bit over 4.
Like a 4.5 was the max.
5.
The school I went to
just
was
let
4.5.
him teach all the classes at Yale at that point.
He was the man. I talked to my mom about it, and she thought it might be a good idea for me to live with my dad for the sake of the better school. So I brought up the idea to my dad. He told me he needed to think about it, and he would get back to me. After a few days, he told me it wasn't possible. Naturally, I asked him why, and he explained that their house only has 3 bedrooms, theirs and 1 for each of his sons. He said this is a new phase in their lives, and they need some time to adjust to living together. Oh, that sucks.
Feels wrong.
Yeah. You know, adjusting to live with one another without you.
Right. It's like the whole reasoning is it's like, well, they could adjust to me being there as well. It's like, what do you mean you have to adjust? It just seems very dismissive as well.
He also mentioned that my stepbrothers and I haven't spent much time together, so there's a chance of conflicts arising. He thinks I should get to know my stepbrothers better before making a big change that could disrupt the family dynamics.
This guy is just like, I don't want to rock my own boat, so this feels like it might cause problems for me, so I don't want you to move here.
I didn't agree with his answer, though I told him I'd be totally fine sharing a room with my 13-year-old stepbrother, and we've never had any issues when we've hung out. I also pointed out that saying no to this opportunity could seriously affect my college plans, given that the school in that area is much better. I explained that I spent a lot of time at school studying or in extracurricular activities, so it will not impact a lot of family dynamics. I'm very obedient.
Good boy.
And I'll do all the chores they need at the house. I'll spend the weekends at my mom's house. He stuck to his decision. I really wanted to move in, so I reached out to my grandparents and uncles to talk to my dad. They had a chat with him, He called me afterwards, pretty angry. He said I should have accepted his first answer, and now the whole family is against him, thinking he's not acting correctly. Am I the a-hole? Wow, you just got other people to call you out too. That's why you're mad.
I don't. How can you get called out by your siblings as the dad and your parents, and then your response is still to go back to your child and say you shouldn't have done that?
That's crazy.
That is pretty crazy. I went to a school that was 45 minutes away from me, so I could, be able to have more college, activities and things. And I feel like this kid and I are the same where, you get to school at like 7:30 and you're probably going to be there until like 5 or 6 into the evening. So it's not really going to bother anything. And then you're probably going to hang out with friends and stuff. So he's not going to be home a lot. So I don't know. If that's what you're worried about.
Yeah. It didn't feel like it's coming from any place other than like, you know what? I bet there's got to be something with his wife.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
got to be like the new wife is like, well, I thought you loved my children. And it's like, why can't we just love all of the children? And it's not even because it's like, it's literally to better their school opportunities. So reasonable.
It is reasonable, you would think. But we got an update.
And the most reasonable thing, that's your literal child asking to live with you when you have a house.
They can't do that right now. Update. Well, I guess any chance of me studying near my stepmom's house is over. A few days ago, I messaged my dad asking what time he'd pick me up on Friday to spend the weekend at their place. He didn't respond. So I asked again, and he said he wouldn't be picking me up, that I wouldn't be spending the weekend there. I asked why. He said it's not his weekend. It's the next one. This really pissed me off because he never really used to use the weekend is his or her not excuse. Before he got married, we practically spent every weekend together. To me, this showed that he truly chose his new family over me. He knew I was already upset about the school situation, and he did this to show that I'm not welcome there.
Ooh, I really like this because it shows that, like, even when parents are like your parents, they're still just people. Because now he's taking this out on you unfairly because you told his parents on him.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, think about any time like you've been told on, Riley, like,
oh gosh,
the same feeling. You're like, I can't believe this guy told on me. Actually,
it's really nerve-wracking, and it really does, like, you lose trust in that person. It's tough. It's a tough situation to be in, especially when you like work so closely together and you're like a family unit.
Stop! I did it.
Tough.
It was.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what I'm talking about either.
I told him it's okay for him to choose his new family, but he didn't need to pick me up anymore, and that he could just forget I exist. And I'd do the same. Whoa.
Wow. Okay.
No contact.
So this should be the moment where he starts being like, well, this is getting out of hand. I should sort of smooth over the situation with my daughter. No, I'm sorry, son. With my son.
Yeah.
I should really smooth out the situation with my son now.
Wait, it gets worse. I logged into Instagram, which I don't use, to block him, and I saw a picture of him at an amusement park with my stepbrothers. He had written, me and my boys. He didn't even invite me to go with them. I have no idea when that was. He truly excluded me from his life.
How old is OP in this story?
15.
Wow. So this isn't the right thing to do, but I think if I was 15, I'd probably never talk to my dad again.
Oh,
If
yeah.
I saw something like that,
Yeah.
that would destroy me.
Yeah, you've already made your choice.
Oh, no. Pops has got to make this right real big.
Yeah. I even got more furious and sent him a message telling him to enjoy having 2 sons now instead of just 1. And that I wanted him to go F himself. My dad called me multiple times, and I answered once, and he started scolding me, saying I'm acting like a child, and I hung up on him and didn't pick up again.
He is a child. He's your child. He's 15. And yes, what is wrong with this guy?
He sent several messages saying he wants to talk to me. I was really naive to this whole situation. He replaced me months ago. I couldn't bike to school because of the knee surgeries I had, and I just realized how he never once took me to school. It was always my grandparents or my mom. Lately, I see him very little, and I thought it was because of the surgeries and recovery, but apparently, he only had space for every other weekend. Whereas before his new family, he was always available for me. Oh, man. It's sad. My mom is upset with me, too. She says I lost my reason, that I have to talk to my dad, and I'm not behaving appropriately. As far as I'm concerned, I'll never talk to my dad again. Now I'm going to spend the night locked up in my room because if I step out, my mom's going to try to force me to talk to him. I don't know if I'm doing right or wrong, but right now I'm just really angry and sad. I never thought my dad could replace me like this. I truly thought he cared about me.
That was such a 15-year-old string of sentences right there.
Yeah.
Like, never going to talk to my dad again, hiding in my room so no one has to talk to me. Like, I don't know exactly what I'm doing, but I'm angry and sad. Yeah, that was like the triple combo teenager sentences.
I love it. That's what we go through.
I mean, I think you could work through this, but it's like clearly the responsibility to do most of the damage control is going to be on your
The
dad.
dad, for sure.
But some counseling or it's just some talk. This needs to be talked out at the very least.
Yeah.
And dad needs to get vulnerable because what he's doing to you is not right.
It's not cool either. It's really messed up. Edit. People are saying my mom is taking my dad's side. Nope. She doesn't want me to be in a fight with my dad. She's saying that we need to talk to listen to each other. I guess no mom wants her kid to be in a fight with their dad. But I don't think I want to talk to my dad tonight.
Also fair.
Update 2. He sent a lot of messages last night. He's saying that we need to talk in person and that I'm misunderstanding everything. He came over early this morning, but I told my mom I didn't want to talk to him and locked myself in my room. He wants to come to talk tonight.
Okay, well, I get it. 15 locked in the room, totally normal. We're on the right track. So you're taking a little time to get to a place where you're ready to talk about it. It's a big thing. Your dad's attitude's probably not making it any easier. I'm sure he's very like kind of scoldy about it, but yeah. I mean, if y'all can just, because honestly, where the dad's coming from too is probably he feels hurt.
Yeah.
He feels hurt. You know, we're all emotional creatures, and any
for sure.
BS that happens like this usually just comes from people who are hurting for some reason or another.
For sure. Update 3. I talked to my dad, but I told him I'd talk to him if my mom was there too. The 3 of us sat down at the table. Mom said I'd be the first to speak, but when I started talking, she said it wasn't what I should say and that I should apologize first. So I apologized to my dad for swearing at him. Then right after, my mom said I'm grounded for 2 weeks for swearing at my dad, stating that nothing justifies swearing at your father. This is my first time being grounded in my life. Then it was my dad's turn to talk. He said that I'm being immature and unfair. He explained that he has other people in his life who are now important, so he can't give me the same attention as before. I tried to talk, and my mom told me to listen quietly and that I'd have my chance to speak later. He mentioned that I act like everything has to be according to my own will and circled back to the school situation. He told my mom that I talked to my grandparents and uncles. My mom got upset about that, adding another week to my grounding.
How does that make literally any sense? Why?
Well, they're just, I don't know, they feel like he's misbehaving, so they need to like.
He just talked to his family.
Yeah,
and said, I really want to live with dad so I can go to the school. Can you try to convince him? And he's getting grounded for a week for that? That's insane.
It's kind of, in a way, it could be manipulating. They could see that.
Sure, but it's not like manipulate him to
give me money or let me borrow the car. It's like,
I want to get into a good school.
So like if you came to Keon and you're like, hey, Keon, can you put this up? And then if it didn't work, and then you came to like John and Sam and be like, hey, Keon didn't do whatever I wanted.
Nah, I don't.
That's kind of the
way
vibe.
Too loose of a look. Bottom line, none of what they're talking about right now matters because of that Instagram post with me and my boys. That is the key to all of this.
I see.
That was the moment where I'm like, I'm not talking to my dad ever again.
Yeah.
So where's that at?
I think they're gonna get to it. And when I tried to complain, she said she was disappointed in me for not understanding that I should respect my parents' decisions. So I figured out it would be better not to argue any further, as it would extend my grounding. So I'm grounded for 3 weeks now, both for swearing at my dad and not respecting his decision. Finally, he said he always done everything to be present in my life and give me the best he can. He said he feels unjustly treated after years of dedication, and I treat him like he's done nothing for me. I have to agree that he is very present and dedicated until recently, but I can't feel that anymore. When I started talking, my mom said if my tone got aggressive, the conversation would end, as it meant to be friendly discussion, not a fight. I tried to stay calm as possible so that the conversation would end before I could express what I was thinking. I said I understood that there is more people and I need to share my dad's attention with. However, these people are always with him since they live together, and the little time I have with him would only be on weekends. I mentioned that for the first time. He brought up the legal aspect and that I'm only entitled to be with him every other weekend. I said this showed that he deliberately chose to decrease the time we spend together. I also said that having new people around doesn't mean he can forget about me or my feelings. I told him that the photo he posted at the amusement park with the caption, "Me and my boys," hurt me deeply. My mom had seen the photo, so I showed it to her. She was upset with my dad too. I said I understood the difficulty of me moving to my stepmom's house, but I felt extremely unjustly treated by the arguments present.
I'm so mad that they did not, that was 2 sentences that they spent on the Instagram post. What? That's like emotionally devastating. Also, why is OP as a 15-year-old, like the stipulation to have this conversation is like you have to be an emotionless like lawyer basically, or like what? Think about a more emotionally charged conversation than, hey,
Yeah.
Dad, I think you like your new family more than me.
I think that she just didn't want yelling, and that might be a deeper reason of, non-confrontation and everything.
I suppose. Just makes me feel like they're real control.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't like this. OP's on the wrong, being treated wrong, and now is grounded for 3 weeks.
It was as if my stepbrother's difficulty sharing a room with me was just as important as a good educational opportunity for me. I said he should be concerned about my future, but it seems like the only opinions that mattered are those of his new kids. He said I was misinterpreting things, but that he'd be more careful about posting pictures and captions that could hurt me. About the weekend issue, he said we're all still adjusting, and indeed, he'd like me to be able to come over every weekend like it used to be, but now he needs more predictability since more people are involved. I mentioned again that he was putting others' desires ahead of mine and that my wishes were never a priority compared to theirs.
Dude, this guy's just talking word salad. He's trying to say, I need more predictability. Every weekend is just as predictable as every other weekend. So what are you talking about? Like he's unable to be like, I was wrong.
Yeah, no, he's trying to talk himself out of this. This showed me that he had a preference. He fell silent for a moment and then said he'd fix the situation.
I can fix it.
I'd always be welcome to visit and stay where he lives. He also said he won't be bringing up the every other weekend visitation arrangement again. He said that the school issue is more complicated, but he's still looking into a solution. He again said, I need to understand that circumstances change and I'm still his priority. Now there are more people involved. He mentioned he knows it's not easy for a 15-year-old, but I'm smart enough to know he's speaking the truth. He invited me to spend the weekend with him, but I declined, saying I don't feel welcome at this moment. He said he loves me and that if I ever doubt that at any moment, I could call him. So that's where we are. There's a bit of impasse. He's sending me several messages every day to show he's there for me. I feel like I'm being a bit unfair to him. On the other hand, I feel like his new family doesn't want me around. I don't know where this will lead, but I appreciate the support from those who wrote in the last post. We got an edit. I think the dad understands that the kid's hurting, and the dad got his side out. He's listening to the kid now. Dad's going to fix it.
Yeah, I was expecting to be really upset, but I'm pretty happy where we're at. It's like we kind of talked it out. Dad was still definitely giving some BS stuff about predictability or whatever, but it's like clearly he's gotten to a point where he's like, okay, I understand where you're at, my son. Now you kind of know where I'm at, and I'm going to make more of an effort so that this doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
Perfect. And he said he's actually still looking into the school thing.
Yeah.
So that's also perfect. He would have just said that he's looking into it the whole time. That's fine.
I think in that moment he realized what's happening, and he's now going to fix it.
Yeah.
That's what I've seen.
I think you're right on the money with that.
Edit. As I mentioned, I'm grounded right now, so I don't have much time to respond. I just want to say I think you guys are being a bit hard on my dad and my mom. My mom didn't punish me when I slammed the door in her face and locked myself in my room in the middle of the week. She knew I could get upset like I did during the week, and the conversation wouldn't lead anywhere. This is normal with us teenagers. She stood by me, for example, in the situation with the photo. So cut them some slack. She's trying to maintain a balance between supporting me and exercising parental control. Of course, I don't like being grounded and don't agree totally, but she has her points. And I want to point out that you can watch any freaking OK Storytime story on your favorite podcast platform. Just search up OK Storytime on Apple, iHeartRadio, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts, and you can be your point person.
We can listen to like all those episodes?
Yep. And on this little episode story, we got a little left. How do you like where things are?
I mean, I think you really crushed it with he realized in that moment towards the end of that conversation, he's like, okay, I really did mess up.
Realize.
And now I'm going to immediately take steps to fix it.
Yeah.
Which is good. Because, dude, that
amazing.
picture, I'm astounded that they didn't
do
latch
anything.
onto that. I thought as soon as that came to light, it would have been a full 180. And now mom and OP are like, yeah, that was super messed up. You could have done any other caption besides that one. And it would have been fine. You could have been like, fun trip to the amusement park with these goobers.
Yeah, boom.
Anything other than me and my boys with one of your children missing.
One of your other boys.
One of your other boys is not there.
It'd be different if OP was a girl, but yikes, dude.
And that maybe could have genuinely been a case of him being like, oh, I didn't consider that my teenage son might consider this as like a direct shot at him.
Yeah.
And that could have genuinely been the case because it's, whatever. But I think, again,
Yeah. Ugh.
This is the right man.
What can I say? I read Reddit stories for a living. I consume and analyze Reddit stories.
Consume the will of the people.
I do, bro. And two, I realized whenever people talk or rant, they're only going to talk about the bad features of other people treating them badly, not anything good.
That is true. We get a lot of stories where they'll like write something out and then their update will be like, guys, relax. Stop telling me I'm dating like the spawn of Satan.
Yeah.
Like he's not that bad.
He's not that bad. It's just this one thing.
Right.
One thing. I'm still sad about the situation with my dad, but I see that part of the conversation was positive. He told me to forget about every other weekend thing and that I could go whenever I want. He's been sending me messages. Even my 13-year-old stepbrother messaged me inviting me over, so I can see that he's making an effort. But I don't want to go over this week. That's why I said I'm in a bit of a dilemma. And at the same time, I don't feel comfortable going to his house. But I've seen an effort from him in the past few days after the conversation. And if I don't go, I'll never build a relationship and feel more at ease. And hopefully OP has felt at ease, because that's the end of the story.
OP, literally say exactly that. Send that in a message to your dad. Say, hey, I'm just not ready to come over this week.
Yeah.
I really like that you're clearly making an effort. Please keep doing so. And like, let's try next week. You know, it's not wrong for you to not be ready.
Yeah. And that's the end of that story. But guys, we got another one coming up. What are your thoughts? How do you feel? Has your parent left you for a new family? Let us know in the comments.
Let us know. There's at least, there's got to be some people.
Statistically, there is one of you that did get left for a new family. Sorry, but
statistically, there is one of you.
I told off my cheating father. Now his new wife is calling me heartless.
she's a hard eater.
I know the title sounds super bad, but hear me out. I, 18 male, am an only child. I live with my mom full time. My parents are divorced. Some quick context. During my entire life, my mom always picked up after me and my dad. They both worked full time, but my mom handled breakfast, lunch, dinner, groceries, cleaning, laundry. What did my dad do? Mow the lawn, shovel snow, fix things like the sink if it ever broke. So not things that happen every day.
It's like he handles the outside, she handles the inside.
Yeah, but the inside things happen like every day. He's doing things that happen
Well,
maybe once a week.
this is how my grandparents live.
Yeah, but that's a different time. I feel like it's,
They still live this way.
well, I know, but they're different generations.
Yeah, but he's always in the garden, always. But yeah, okay.
By the way,
Are they cool with it?
I presumably not, seeing as he has a new wife.
Oh boy.
By the way, this comes from Throwaway Pasta Error. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Riley.
And OP says, when I was younger, I always loved my dad because he would do fun things with me. Take me to sports games, play with me in the yard sometimes, buy me McDonald's or ice cream. He was the fun parent, and my mom was the caring one. She always made me food, helped me in school, packed my bags, comforted me when I was sad, and took care of me when I was sick. When I got older, I started to realize more and more how much my mom did. Well, my dad would sit on the couch and watch TV or stuff like that. My mom asked me when I was quite young to help her out with cleaning, etc. And I remember I would get mad at her when she asked. I didn't want to clean, who does? But one day, after she had got annoyed I didn't even pick up after myself, I yelled at her to leave me alone. I was probably like 12, and that day I heard her cry in the bathroom afterwards.
Oh, at least he knows how much that made her feel.
Yeah. When I realized I made her cry, it clicked in my head that she was doing everything for us, and Dad did barely anything. And I did absolutely nothing at all. Well, I think that you have like this parental figure that is modeling to you that it's okay that you do nothing. And it's like, yeah, this is the woman's job, so it's fine if you just watch TV and play games. And you need a figure in your house to show you that
What's
everyone
up,
chips
yeah.
in. It felt like I grew up super quickly over the course of a week, and I started helping my mom a lot more. It became a bonding thing for us, talking and helping each other out with cleaning and groceries, etc.
Aww.
It's really cute. My dad was still the fun parent, would take me to games and all that, but I grew more and more annoyed that he didn't help out at all. I think when I was like 14, I once said to his face that he never helps out around the house, and he got furious with me, yelled in my face, and sent me to my room. My mom comforted me and told me to just let him be. You and I got this alone anyway. The few times he was dragged into helping, he would always make a mess somehow, and it would end in an argument with him and Mom. I've realized now he most likely did a bad job on purpose so we wouldn't ask him for help. When I was 15, Mom found out that Dad cheated.
Oh, gosh.
He had been for like a year. There's no redeeming qualities to this guy. Yikes.
He don't help out, just watches TV.
And he cheats.
If you were I watch YouTube, but I also produce YouTube. And I make sure that I put out content. He's not even doing that.
Nope. They had the biggest fight ever. And my dad left us that night to live with his mistress and her daughter from a previous marriage. He came a few days after and picked most of his stuff up. I don't remember much how the divorce went, other than my mom being a wreck. When it was finalized, she honestly broke down even more. I fed her, helped her into the shower, held her at night. I've never seen her that bad, and if I didn't hate my dad for what he had done in general, I started absolutely despising him for what he did to my mom.
Ugh.
That is a really tough situation to be put in as a 15-year-old, where you have to kind of be the father figure
Yeah.
for your own mother, or like the husband figure for your own mother.
Yeah. That supporting
Yeah.
person.
Family from my mom's side would help us too, but it was mostly me, since no one could really move in and stay with us full time. I picked up a job at 16 to help at home. It took my mom maybe half a year to start going back to her old self. She grew up to be better, happier, and I had never seen her so full of life when she was with Dad. A month or two after the divorce was over, my dad started pushing for me to live with him 50% of the time. I told him to F off, basically. But Mom said I shouldn't shut him out completely. So I went to him every other weekend. He tried to be all nice to me, and so did his mistress, but I hated their guts. The mistress, let's call her Hannah, tried to be nice to me, but also boss me around, and I basically ignored her. She has a daughter from a previous marriage who tried to bond with me, but I ignored her too. Barely even a year after the divorce was over, Hannah got pregnant.
Oh, gosh.
Wow. And they had another daughter. Dad and Hannah have tried to push for me to be a big brother for them, but I couldn't care about them less. Now I'm 18 and I gradually stopped going to my dad's. I barely ever stay at night. I just visit, and my dad keeps trying to blame my mom for it. Hannah gives me more and more attitude and tries to use her daughters to guilt me into staying over, saying, they miss their big brother. You're so selfish. Wow, that's really not the way to get what you want there.
Wow, that's really going to help bond this family together. Bonding over guilt. Great.
Insult him.
Beautiful.
Perfect. We had a big confrontation when I visited last. I stayed for 20 minutes before Hannah started to lecture me. So I just started leaving.
Bro knows what free will is.
Yeah, OP's like, wait, I actually don't have to stay here. Bye. Dad blocked my way and told me I have to grow up and leave the past in the past. It's not the past, though. You're actively sucking right now. And also, you never seemingly apologized for any of the behaviors from the past. He said I can't be mad forever, and I'm acting as if I don't love him, and we're all family. That just set me off. I started screaming at him that I haven't loved him in years.
Dang.
I told him that he was always a lazy POS who acted more like a child than a husband to my mom. She always cleaned up after him, cleaned the house alone, washed his clothes, made him food, fetched him another adult soda, even though the kitchen was 5 steps away. But all that ever came out of his mouth was complaints and demands.
Oh my gosh.
OP is reading him.
Also, this is a really bad time to bring this up, but one of my favorite things is whenever Angie brings me a LaCroix from her parents' house and it's really cold.
Well, that's different. You guys show each other. Yeah, that's not this.
I do things for her.
Yeah, you do things for her all the time.
But
in this situation, he's demanding things and never does anything.
But it is nice. It really is nice.
It really is nice. I told him.
Oh, so that makes me point out she does a lot of nice things for you.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay,
Yeah.
I feel less bad now.
Yeah.
Because I was like, dude, sometimes Angie gets me a drink from the
but
fridge.
you do stuff in exchange. That's
You're right.
the point.
You're right. I try to braid her hair.
Yeah. When I go over to my friend's house.
Oh, get over it. In a month, this will come out. Say it.
Yeah. Hopefully at this point.
Say it when you go to your boyfriend's
It's
house.
not okay. It's not, hopefully
This is coming out in a month, okay?
I hope he's my boyfriend by then.
You can just say it. Just say it.
No,
Manifest it.
Manifest. No, I can't because that'd be so embarrassing if he wasn't.
We're not talking as if it was
Anyway.
September 5th.
Yeah,
this
we're
is
talking. Yeah.
like October 5th.
Anyway, hopefully at this time he's my boyfriend. Anyway, whenever I go over to his house, he always makes me food. Yeah, he's like, "Do you want a snack?" And then he comes out and he like toasts really nice bread. And like he mashed up avocado and like cut up this like really fresh tomato and like had like olive oil. And I was like, damn.
I do that to Angie.
Yeah, I was
every
like,
time
this
she
is
comes
a nice
over.
snack.
That is a nice snack. He
I was
cooks
like, I thought
really
you were
good.
gonna he's such a good cook.
I need to work on that.
I told him he took me out to do fun things, sure, but that's not all there is to being a dad. He was never there for me, helped me in school, drove me anywhere, or picked me up, comforted me. And then he did the worst possible thing. After years of standing on my mother's back and using her, he went and effed a random woman and absolutely broke her. Yeah, I mean, I think OP needed to say this.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, it's not ideal that he's, like, screaming all of this, but, you know, he's 18. His dad has been pushing this relationship that OP clearly doesn't want to have anymore. And, you know, sometimes it just all comes out.
If the dad wanted to have an actually genuine relationship, he should have said he was sorry, said it was crappy, and I don't know, at least owned up to what he did.
Yeah. I screamed about how a kid had to pick up the pieces of his own mother because his father was such a POS and useless garbage. I felt nothing for him. In fact, I hated his guts still, and I hated his mistress too. I turned to Hannah and told her that she means nothing to me. She has no authority over me. I don't give a crap about her or her kids. I told them both I wish nothing bad at their daughters, but Hannah is a horrible person for filling her kids' heads with lies about how I am their brother when I've repeatedly told them I'm not. Then I looked my dad in the eyes and said, my father passed away to me years ago, and that man wasn't even a good dad. You're just a stranger to me. I pushed my way past him and left.
Oh,
dang!
that was a movie
needed
scene.
to get that off his chest.
Let's write a script, dude.
Jeez, yeah,
Oh
write
my
a script about your
gosh.
life story. I hope your dad was just like, I'm just imagining the dad being like,
Yeah. He definitely sat down later that day and started
was like-
thinking about what you said.
wow,
Oh.
he's never gonna forget that.
Do you think the dad could come back from this?
There is a way, but it
Okay.
requires a lot of therapy, self-reflection,
Mm-hmm.
apologies, and just like,
Do you think he'd have to divorce Hannah?
probably. I don't know if well, you know what? I think Hannah would, well, kind of, because Hannah is a problem too. Because she's the one who's kind of spewing that filth at OP.
Yeah.
But I don't think that he could do that. And also, I think he would be a little bit the a-hole for divorcing this, woman.
But
that
he's
he
an a-hole
got
to
a
Hannah,
kid.
not to
Yeah, not to
OP.
OP.
So there is one way.
Yeah,
But father,
but you'd become an a-hole in a new way to your daughters.
yeah, but you've already chose your path here.
Yeah. When I got home, I told my mom everything and cried. She hugged me and told me she understands my emotions but wishes I wasn't so aggressive for my own sake. My mom has never said a bad thing about my dad despite everything, and when I would curse him out, she always told me it wasn't worth it. My dad and his new family were silent for a few days, but then Hannah started bombarding me with texts about how I was a horrible son and my dad hasn't stopped crying since. Good. Finally, he gets, a feel for how OP's mom was going, what she was going through.
He gets it.
I know he always wanted a son and wanted a close bond, but he's failed me as a father and I don't care. But family from Hannah's side I've met, like once or not at all, have also started messaging me saying I was out of line and everyone makes mistakes.
Block.
Yeah, I'd be like,
buddy,
who are you?
buddy,
Do I know
buddy.
you? But I don't think it's a mistake. I genuinely think my dad's a POS, and I don't know him anything. But I guess all the hate from so many people has me doubting myself. Maybe I should have just left without a word. So yeah, am I the a-hole? And there is an update, but I think I've already said it. It's like, yeah, maybe not the best move, but sometimes you can't stop that. And
Yeah,
you're young.
Justified a-hole.
I agree.
Justified.
I agree.
You did an a-hole move, but everyone can't. You have
Yeah.
to be an a-hole sometimes.
Yeah, you can't.
You have to.
You can't just keep all of that in. I don't think it would be healthy for you to keep that in.
No. Could you have written a letter and said everything? Yes, and you wouldn't be the a-hole in that scenario, but justified a-hole.
I agree. Update. I know it hasn't been long since I posted, but I quickly got so many not the a-hole and people who agreed with me that I acted pretty fast. I wrote out a long text to my dad that looks like this.
Okay.
Hey Dad, I know what I said yesterday was very harsh, but I'm not apologizing for it. Growing up, you made it clear what a partner and a husband shouldn't be. Even though mom and you worked the same hours, you were always entitled to your alone time and your rest while she was left to pick up after the whole family. I realized at a young age that mom needed help, and every time I picked up your old socks or put your dishes away, I got more and more annoyed at what a lazy POS you are. A 12-year-old did more housework than his father. Let that sink in. You went and did fun things with me. I acknowledge and did appreciate that, but that's not all there is to be a parent. I needed you other times when I was sick, sad, stressed, needed help with homework, or even just talking to you. I know you always wanted a good father and son bond, but we never actually talked. Not small talk, proper conversations. I honestly feel like you don't even know who I truly am. But when I went to you with anything, you told me to go to mom because you had a long day at work. I hope for your new daughter's sake that you start picking up your crap after yourself. I can't stand Hannah, but I somehow also hope she doesn't get stuck in the loop of scrubbing your back and holding your spoon when you eat, never allowed to ask for a favor and rest. You need to tell her to get her family to stop pestering me about this, or I'm blocking you all, you included. Hannah has no authority over me, and I have no respect for her because she slept with a married man. She also is not entitled to a relationship with me. I've always tried to be polite but not welcoming because I don't see her as anything other than your mistress. She needs to get that through her head. And like I said, I will never wish anything bad onto her daughters, but I am not their family. You filling their head with that BS is only causing them harm. Get that through your head. Yeah.
He's about to smoke.
Hope he's really hammering this in. There's a little bit more.
Okay.
If you're unhappy in your marriage, you either try to work it out, go to therapy, or split on whatever terms. You don't cheat on your partner like a dirt pickle. It doesn't matter how you felt for Hannah and mom at the time. You should have split with mom before pursuing Hannah. I'm effing 18 years old, and even I know that. If the texts don't stop today, I'm blocking every last one of you. I'm already blocking Hannah's family, but I'm keeping you and her unblocked for whatever reason. This is not me forgiving you. I don't think we can work through this because we can't. I'm not visiting you for a while, and if I ever want to again, it will be on my terms. This is not up for negotiation, and again, if you try to pressure me or guilt trip me, I will literally just never speak to you again. I hope you go to therapy and get fully torn down so you can build yourself up to be someone worthy of respect. Because right now, you're not. Now leave me alone.
Oh.
But you should never leave us alone because you can listen to full stories with episodes just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. Oof.
Boom.
Oof. Wow. Ooh-wee. You just...
Right for the throat.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, you got the letter you wanted, Riley.
Fair. Yeah, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
I love that.
Set your boundaries, man.
You have to.
You gotta.
Yes, you were aggressive, but you have to be.
You weren't lying.
If I saw my mom crying
Yeah.
for years about a man that just wasn't worth a hill of beans.
I gotta hate him too.
Gosh.
Here's a little bit left, though. After like 3 or 4 hours, Dad responded, I understand, and nothing else. The random texts have stopped. I don't know. I sort of feel free, but also sad. I'm not burning the bridge fully, but I'm also done with their BS. So yeah, that's where I stand right now. Thanks for listening. OP, you're going to be sad because this is really tough. You've had to cut off this. I mean, like, again, I think it's the thing of you're not mourning the relationship you had with your dad. You're mourning the desire for a good relationship with a father figure.
Yeah.
And you've never really, I mean, you've had it to some extent because he does seem like he was, the fun parent for a time.
Fun parent, took you to games.
But eventually you realize that like the fun parent isn't the parent who's there for you and like stepping out for you. But that's the end of that story.
My mother talked about evicting my daughter. I snapped at her.
Be like Thanos. Snap back.
April 3rd, 2025. I, 66 female, am retired, but kept very busy by caring for my mother, 85 female, and my disabled husband, 64 male. My mother does not live with us. She lives in an assisted living facility where I visit her every few days to check up on her and see if she needs anything. During my latest visit, she brought up how I should finally get my daughter, 29 female, Claire, out of the house. By the way, this comes from user FewHunter2043, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. Now, for some additional context, yes, my daughter does indeed still live with me and my husband for many factors, including her rather fragile mental health. But what my mother does not understand is that despite us being parent and child, we are not living in a parent and child kind of situation. We are roommates that just happen to also be family, because neither her nor my husband and I could afford places of our own in this economy. We are dependent on Claire just as much as she is dependent on us. Claire holds down a full-time job which doesn't pay great, but doesn't pay awful either. She pays her fair share in rent, utilities, and groceries, and does her fair share of chores, and sometimes even takes over some of my chores when she feels I need a break. I cook on Wednesdays when Claire has to work, but Claire has weekends off, so she takes over cooking duties. She has a savings account for emergencies, she pays for the family Netflix account, and even spends some of the fun money she has left over every month, which isn't much, on little treats for my husband and I, no matter how often I ask her not to waste what little money she has to enjoy life on us. So, with all of that as background, my mother's comments made me pretty angry because Claire does so much to not be a burden to my husband and I, despite me telling Claire that I love her and could never see her as a burden. I also fear my mother may have planted that thought in her head when I wasn't around. Meanwhile, all my mother seems to do is demand, demand, demand. She has nurses at her disposal in that assisted living facility and people who do grocery runs for her, but she never uses these services and demands I do everything for her instead. She demands all of my time, energy, and attention. I suspect she may want to push me to throw Claire out so she could move in with my husband and I and force me to be her full-time caretaker. I was already having a crap day, so I just snapped and told her that Claire's living situation is none of her dang business. She started crying and asked why I would yell at her for just being concerned. Reddit, am I the a-hole for snapping at my mother? I mean, I think that's a pretty big stretch. That's a stretch for her to be like, I'm concerned. It's like, you're concerned whether or not you'll have a room that you could move into.
Yeah, when you already have a living facility and all these services, and now you're trying to make OP your full-time caretaker,
right?
When she's already caretaking for her husband.
Exactly. It'd be different if it was like I'm worried about Claire. I'm worried she's not gonna have the skills, whatever. Because it is true, if you're like overly sheltered and you don't have to pay any bills for like your whole early adultful, like it can screw you up.
It's the responsibility thing. Yeah, and it seems like Claire's doing okay.
She's literally doing everything she needs to do. She's paying rent, she's paying utilities, she's buying groceries, she's helping out around the house. She's doing it.
Yeah, she's not.
And they need that money.
She's not getting off scot-free. She's actually helping out and, like OP said, being a roommate.
It's just a very clear attempt at the mom here to just like maximize her own gain.
And she's not comfortable with anything but OP.
Yeah. Well, we have some comments. Let's see what's going on here. Top comment says, not the a-hole. Parents of any age love to judge their kids living in financial situations, even when they don't have all the information. The economy's in the crapper. I think it's nice that your daughter's staying at home and helping you out. Does your mom know about the financial situation? Do you want her to know? Maybe it's time for some tough love and to lower your visitations. Even if she is your mother, you don't owe her anything. Family does not have the right to ruin your peace. OP says, my mom knows about our financial situation, but she thinks that's no excuse. That doesn't. Again, so it is. It's just a transparent move to move in with you.
Yeah, she's not comfortable and she only likes your service.
Commenter, does your mother have to pay for the grocery and nursing services or are they included? If inclusive, ask her why she's wasting your time and her money by not using services she already paid for. Doing that would help you a lot more than stopping supporting your daughter even if she was dependent, which she is not. If she's concerned about your workload, she has that in her power to help, but emphasize you'd still be around to see her. OP says, these services are included in my mother's rent, but she refuses to use them because, quote, the shoppers always get her the wrong items. She's very particular about what companies she wants to get her food from, and she's afraid that the nurses will rifle through her belongings and steal anything of value she has. Mom wanting to move in with OP, yes, that's my suspicion as well. I am still trying to figure out a slightly kinder way to say I'd rather pull my own fingernails out than let you move in with me. OP talks about her husband here. My husband isn't Claire's father. I would even hesitate calling him her stepfather. I met him when she was 23 and married him when she was 26, so he came into her life a bit late to be a parental figure. When they talked about it prior to us getting married, Claire told him that while he may have come into her life too late to be her father, in her eyes there's no such thing as coming into someone's life too late to be family. So while she doesn't see him as a father figure, she does see him as family, and they have a great relationship with inside jokes even I don't understand at times. And there is an update. April 6th, 2025. Let's dig in. Hello everyone. First, I'd like to thank you for all your incredibly kind words and helpful helpful advice. Yesterday, I sat with my daughter for our Easter tradition of getting together as a family and eating a big batch of my grandmother's pickled eggs. While we ate, we made a huge mess, which, if my grandma was to be believed, is essential to the egg tasting experience. I reminded Claire that I love her and that she will always be welcome with my husband and I. She seemed a bit confused by it suddenly coming up, but thanked me and told me she loved me too. When I asked if she had spoken to her grandmother lately, she said no, she hadn't spoken to my mother since my birthday. Today I drove to visit my mom again and have a talk about what happened, and it went surprisingly well. I started out by apologizing for snapping at her like that, because regardless of my mental state, I should not have gone on the attack, and I truly am sorry. I sadly am the type to bottle up my feelings instead of communicating them immediately, and it's something I know I need to work on. Hey, you and almost everyone else on Earth, don't feel bad, OP.
Also, good for OP on literally taking the first fault and saying, I'm sorry.
Exactly. However, I also told my mother that I am not willing to talk about Claire's living situation with her and asked her to use the facility's services a bit more in the future, instead of always relying on me, because I have a life of my own and a husband who also needs me, probably more than she does, but I didn't say that part out loud. She started crying again, asking why Claire and I hate her so much. She talked about how Claire never calls and only seems to acknowledge her existence when she absolutely has to, and has now also turned me against her. She asked if I was really so sure that Claire wouldn't eventually start ignoring me the way she's ignoring her. It's like, what are we talking about? This is not what we're talking about. We're talking about you letting them buy your groceries for you because I cannot manifest more time into the day that doesn't exist.
And she's turning into a victim. I'm the victim here because you won't let your daughter move out.
And she's going, you'll see, she'll do it to you. It's like,
What are we doing here, Grandma?
Mom, I just don't have the time to buy your groceries for you. Let them buy them. I was getting very impatient with her again, but I was prepared for it this time and managed to stay calm and ask her to think back to her interactions with Claire over the past 5 years and the many moments of her being rude or downright cruel to Claire. I even named some specific instances Claire told me about, and to put herself in Claire's shoes. Would she want to spend any time with someone who treated her like that? I felt ridiculous talking to my 85-year-old mother like she is a 5-year-old child, but when I told her that we love her, but at times we don't feel particularly loved by her, it seemed to actually get through to her. She stopped crying and told me that she didn't realize her comments hurt my daughter so badly. In my mother's defense, Claire, like me, has the habit of bottling up her feelings in the moment and disengaging instead of communicating unless she feels she can 100% predict the other person's reaction. So she most likely never told my mother that these comments hurt her and just started distancing herself. And by the way, you never have to distance yourself from full episodes with stories like this. You just have to go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts or iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to podcasts and search OK Storytime. And then you'll have 54 days of content to listen to.
And counting.
And I'm seeing that this picture is almost coming to a close here. Keon, you have anything to add?
I think OP, stand your ground. Even if Claire did move out, that does not give an excuse for your mother to move in. She has all these services that she's not using. She's living in a home that there's a reason why she's living there. And there was a reason why she wasn't living with you in the first place. So, sorry, Mom. This is straightforward and to the point. Again, I'm a grown woman and I have to do my grown things and help my husband. You are not priority number one right now.
Yep, OP did it the right way. Didn't get mad, did it with empathy, it's frustrating to have to talk to your parent like they're 5 years old, but
That's what happens when, they get older. You have to treat them like that. It's unfortunate, and that's just life. In regards of the relationship with Claire and your mom, I think they need to have a conversation because, if that's not cleared up in the air or, if your mom doesn't apologize, Claire's going to still hold it against her.
yeah, we can't keep bottling. Gotta let it out. I'm gonna let the rest of the story out right now. My mother promised to use the facility services more and in turn asked me if we could go out and do something fun every now and then. Her definition of fun is usually going to the casino with a very strictly enforced budget, so we'll see about that. It doesn't sound terrible for some mother-daughter bonding time. I'm not sure how things will develop now, but I am hopeful. I'll tell Claire what her grandma and I talked about today and see if she's willing to give her the chance to make amends. I won't push her though. Thank you again for all the helpful advice and encouragement, and that is the end of that story.
Phenomenal. That's cool.
Left it on a good note.
Yeah, you have some mom and daughter time. And hey, guess what? I think once that connection's good, you can switch it up to mom, daughter, and granddaughter time. And if your mom could patch that emotional cutoff with Claire, great.
Yeah, that's all you really need. I ran away from home after an argument. My father got disowned for it.
How did he get disowned for that?
It's usually the other way around, is it not?
Yeah, wait, didn't you just disown yourself? I'm so confused.
This happened in 2020, but it recently got brought up, so I thought I'd ask. So I, 17 female, used to have a great relationship with my stepmother. I genuinely saw her as a mother figure in my life, and I was so excited when she found out she was pregnant. But everything changed in 2020 when I had to stay prematurely with my dad during the lockdowns because my mom is a surgeon. By the way, this comes from user UnhappyTiger1751, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit and submit them there. So, at first, everything was normal until my stepmother Tammy was about 4 months pregnant. She started snapping at me for no reason, and things that she didn't care about before now bothered her. Now, I wasn't a messy or loud person. I did everything I was asked and respected the rules without any backtalk, but no matter what I did, she got angry. It got to a point where she couldn't stand being in the same room as me. I remember I ended up staying in my room most of the time. I only left to do chores or get something from the kitchen. Even at that, she would get mad. One day, she came into my room angry and started yelling that my room was so smelly it was making her sick. I pointed out that the only mess in the room was a half bag of chips, which caused her to burst out crying. As always, my dad babied her, then made excuses saying she was struggling over lockdown, pregnancy, and not being able to see her family.
Okay, I don't think she's trying to take it out on you. As of right now, it just seems like she's a surgeon. This is a really tough time for anyone in the medical field. She's also pregnant.
My mental health was extremely bad. I felt like I was a piece of trash and that any day my dad was going to throw me away. I was always scared my mom would get sick. It got so bad my hair started falling out, and the breaking point came when I was at the kitchen table. I was reading a story on my phone, waiting for my cereal to get soggy so I could eat it, which I hate that sentence, but I'm going to ignore that and continue. When Tammy came in, she huffed, then started cleaning loudly, complaining about a mess, even though the kitchen was spotless. Then she took my bowl and threw it in the bin, literally even the bowl. I just flipped and started yelling at her, asking what her problem with me was, and called her some not very kind words, among other things. My dad came running and got in between us. She demanded that I leave the house and that I was never allowed near her kid. Dad walked me to my room and then said something that ruined our relationship forever. He told me that I must be doing something to Tammy because no one hates a kid for no reason. He also said if I kept stressing her out, I'd have to move out. I then made a social media post asking someone for a place to stay, explaining the situation in detail. I then packed a bag and climbed out of my bedroom window, a bungalow. This is such a 17-year-old story.
Yeah.
Your dad was totally fair for saying what he said. Was he correct? Like, no, I'm sure there are people who hate kids for absolutely no reason other than, I don't like that kid. But your dad's just being like, there's got to be something that's setting her off.
Yeah. And he's just pointing the finger at you.
I don't know.
You didn't do anything wrong, but this was, again, during this time, it makes a lot of sense because there was such hot tension in everyone's home, and everyone was mentally just drained.
Yeah, everyone's totally whacked out right now. And OP, you're probably trying to get ahead of the curve. OP already made a comment how she felt like, I'm going to get kicked out any day, or I'm so anxious, my hair's falling out.
It just sounds like a 17-year-old, like, the world's out to get me kind of thing.
Well, no, it's like, you're not going to kick me out. I'm going to leave. I'm not going to give you the chance.
Yeah, no, it's like, I'm an adult now, or like, I'm about to be an adult. I can stand for myself.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where no one really communicated, and it was just high emotions.
At 17, I wouldn't have been able to have this conversation at 17 at all.
Me neither, no.
I probably would have done the same thing. After about 30 minutes, my phone started blowing up, and I just turned it off and went to a friend's house. I texted my mom off my friend's phone to let her know everything. She didn't call for 7 hours because she was in surgery. She said my aunt would pick me up the next day. My mom told my father I was okay and that I'd be staying with my aunt for 2 weeks until she could come home.
Did I switch up? So is Tammy's stepmom and then OP has another mom? Like her actual mom? I'm confused.
Yes, Tammy is stepmom.
Tammy's stepmom, but is Tammy also a surgeon?
No, mom is surgeon. Quick edit. Tammy's not a surgeon. That's OP's mom. But everything we're saying about people being completely out of their minds during lockdown is still true, regardless of if you're a surgeon or not. Anyway, my mom told my father I was okay and that I'd be staying with my aunt for 2 weeks until she could come home. Apparently, Dad and Tammy had to go door to door to my family or friends' houses looking for me, after I made the post. Let's just say they got a lot of crap. My grandparents still don't talk to him to this day. My aunt packed up my room because I refused to go back into that house. I've not spoken to my father in years or met my half-brother. Tammy and Dad still try to fix our relationship. Apparently, sometimes pregnant women develop a hatred against people or pets for no reason. Maybe, I don't know.
This is all literally happening over literally spilt milk.
Yeah.
She threw the bowl of soggy cereal away.
Which you shouldn't be eating soggy cereal, you little low-feed, whatever. No, I can't say that. But, like, I would have thrown it away, too, because that's ruined cereal.
I like soggy cereal.
I hate it. I need crunch.
Literally. That's what it is. A teenager got their...
Well, it's a 17-year-old, dude. That's all this is a 17-year-old being in 17-year-old fights. And yeah, it's like your pregnant stepmom is yelling at you and crying and screaming. It's like, well, if you were older, you just understand, like, I'm going to let all of this go because this is just a big pregnant lady and going in like one of the weirdest times in our history. She's stressed out. Come on. Turning 18 in 3 weeks, and a cousin's girlfriend asked me about inviting my dad, so I told her the story. She told me, while what they did was wrong, what I did was an a-hole thing too, because I made them worry and stress and go to multiple people's houses during a pandemic, which put a pregnant woman with mental health issues at risk by my whole stunt. So am I the a-hole for letting my dad think I was missing? Yes. Yeah. But you're also 17, so kind of no. I'm going to say no one's an a-hole here. It's just you're 17, and she's super pregnant. So let's read these comments. Comment 1, you were being mistreated by this woman to the point you were losing hair, and your father chose her. You did the right thing to protect yourself. Even if this was something medical with her due to the pregnancy, the 2 adults in the situation owed you far more grace and understanding than you got. He told you it was on you because his wife couldn't possibly hate someone so much without a reason, while knowing dang well you weren't doing anything wrong. Do we know that, though? Is it really like we know for a fact that no 17-year-old could possibly be contentious with their step-parent?
Yeah.
Are we really buying that? Of course they could be. He doesn't know. He's not with them at every second of the day. How's he supposed to know that there's nothing being instigated? He can live with those consequences. If they can't apologize without blaming you, then there is no real apology happening, not the a-hole. I mean, you know, I think everyone can apologize here. You can apologize first if you want. At the end of the day, that never matters. Do you know how many times I've tallied in my life who has apologized first in an argument? 0. I don't know. I have none. It just doesn't matter. The point is to move on from that entire moment in your life.
I think he was trying to call and apologize, but you didn't pick up the phone. You literally denied him that to give him the apology, and they were freaking out looking for you, house to house, block to block. That shows that they genuinely care about you.
Give me the update here. Update. And I'm going to give you guys a heads up. The context changes really radically here at the top of this update, so stick with me. Hi, guys. I honestly thought I'd never give an update, but here I am. I'm going to call my cousin's girlfriend, Sarah, and my cousin, Paul. Remember that? So I mentioned in a comment, I uninvited Sarah from a party. Yesterday, Paul came over to talk. He told me Sarah had issues in the past with her younger siblings, and it was apparently really bad. Like, Sarah's siblings lived with their mom full-time, and she lived with her dad. Long story short, Sarah was diagnosed with bipolar disorder in college and went to therapy. Paul said even though Sarah had apologized to her siblings, they wouldn't have anything to do with her, which breaks her heart. Paul said Sarah told him that when I told her what happened to me, it triggered her because it reminded her of her situation with her siblings. I didn't mention in the other post because it was irrelevant to what I was asking, but Sarah had texted me about letting go of the hate, links to sites about family members with mental health issues, the numbers for family therapists, and even subreddits on here. He told me Sarah wanted to meet up to clear the air and apologize about this in person. I said, okay. Sarah texted about half an hour later about collecting me because she wanted to drive to a new restaurant that had opened in the next town over as her pre-birthday treat to me. We know what she was planning, but Tammy ruined it for her, Tammy, the stepmother, by calling my mom to tell her Sarah's plans to help us make up. I wrote my dad a letter 2 days ago, as a lot of you suggested. I put everything in there and told him how it affects me to this day. I told him I wanted a relationship with my brother, but I wasn't sure I'll ever want one with him. I told him to leave me alone because his actions are only pushing me away even more, and if I ever decide I want to talk to him, it will be on my terms with my mom present. The letter ended up being 5 pages long, and you guys were right. It did make me feel better. My mom dropped it off that day, and Dad asked to meet her a day later. They talked about me meeting my brother, and my dad said he wants to buy me a car, no strings attached. They, Tammy and Dad, also asked if it would be okay to give me money to get myself something for my birthday. You guys are going to hate me for this, but I'm taking the car and $500. I don't hate you for that.
This is such a 17-year-old story.
You're 17. You have no idea what you're signing up for by cutting your dad out for the rest of your life at this point.
Yeah, put yourself in your dad's shoes. He was trying to support everyone at this time. He didn't mean what he said.
Well, I'm sure he did. OP's missing the point about what her dad said when he said, I'm sure that there's something that's being done that's causing this. You know, him being like, you need to fix that or you can't stay here. And again, we're getting this from OP's perspective, but it's like, Dad's just trying to get to the bottom of this. And he assumes that you're starting crap. And you can't let one assumption ruin your relationship with your dad for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and I guarantee you the last thing he wanted to do was point the finger at his pregnant wife.
Easy can't do that. She's pregnant and you're 17. It's a rock and a hard place. That's the new version of a rock and a hard place. The pregnant wife, 17-year-old daughter. Okay. If he wants to give me more, he can, because college supplies and moving into a dorm are expensive. Now back to Sarah, my cousin's girlfriend. She basically contacted Tammy, my stepmom, via Facebook. Tammy sent my mom the screenshots, telling her everything I said, then asking Tammy her side because Sarah didn't believe me. To Tammy's credit, she told the truth and took full accountability. It was Sarah who kept trying to make out that Tammy was the victim. Sarah told Tammy about her own past and said she tried to mend our relationship. Tammy told her that she didn't want her to. The last message was Sarah telling Tammy the location and time we'd be at the restaurant. She even said she'd drive me so I couldn't leave, even though I'd just ask a waitress for help or to call my mom. My mom posted the screenshots in the group chat and called Sarah a bunch of names. She told her if she ever came near me again, she'd regret it. I blocked Sarah and left the group chat, so I don't know what happened afterward, but Paul came over with my aunt and swore he knew nothing about it. To be honest, I don't know if I believe him because he was trying to defend Sarah again, which got him a verbal lashing from my aunt and mom. Oh, God forbid he tries to defend his girlfriend.
Who's trying to help you mend your relationship with your stepmom and your dad.
That's it, really. I'm going to update in a few months to let you guys know how everything went with my brother. I feel like I owe everyone that after so many people helped me to take that step because honestly, words can't describe how happy it's made me. Literally the best birthday present I could have gotten. Thank you so much for the amazing advice and people sharing their own experiences, even the woman who suffered from mental illness. Tammy did, and it helped me understand it a bit more, but I still can't forgive her. I don't think we can ever rebuild our relationship, especially to what it was. There's another update. Let's get right into it.
One thing, trying to buy someone's love is not the way to do it, but I know that's what the dad was trying to do.
It might have just been a timing thing where he's like, well, damn, if my kid doesn't want to speak to me ever again, I was going to get you a car when you were 18. I wanted to get you a gift for your birthday. It's like, well, crap. It's like, okay, am I allowed to do this now? Not everyone has the fortune to have that be the case. But when parents can help out like that, a lot of times they want to, you know? So it would make sense that he's like, oh, yeah, I don't know. I was going to get this as a graduation thing or something. And it could be very well the other way around because you can't buy love. You're right.
It shows that they still care about OP.
Exactly, because they're also respecting OP's boundaries right now. OP's being like, I want nothing to do with you and I don't think anything will ever be the same. And Tammy and her dad are just like, all right, that's okay. And, you know, Sarah's being like, Tammy, come to the restaurant. Tammy's like, no, I'm not coming to the restaurant.
Yeah.
Sarah's got her own trauma that's making her do this. So she's not a villain in this story, regardless. Anyway, let's get into this update. Hey, guys, as promised, here's the final update. Short version, I turned 18 3 days ago, had a great time, met my brother. Sarah tried to get in contact with me again, and I've spoken to my father and Tammy. It's easier to break everything down. Sarah. A day after I made the last update, my mom booked a holiday for a week to get away, which was really random and sudden for her. 3 days in, my mom got a notification that someone was at our door, and it was Sarah. At first, Sarah was normal, asking my mom to talk to me. Then she started explaining herself and her situation, which fluctuated between sad and angry, but suddenly she freaked out, started calling me names and threatening me while damaging our door and porch. She even broke the Ring camera. It was extremely scary. I don't blame her siblings for not wanting anything to do with her.
Did we not forget that Sarah has a bipolar condition?
Mental health disorder. She got a mental health diagnosis. Why are we slam dunking on these people who are mentally ill?
I mean, still not great to go to someone's place and then switch up and then ruin their porch.
Yeah, I don't know how old she is, but you're both young. I had a friend at 17 tackle a police officer on his front porch. Guess what? Mentally unwell. Sarah was arrested, and my mom is definitely pressing charges. I don't know much about her situation now, but I'm not going to lie. I've been looking over my shoulder a lot since. For those wondering, yeah, her and my cousin broke up. He's, let's say, shaken up worse than me and very apologetic. My brother. My birthday went great. I had such a good time. Honestly, I've got the best mother and family in the world. They really made my 18th special. I got so many amazing presents, but my favorite was the sister necklace my brother gave me. Obviously, Dad or Tammy got it, but I finally get to be his sister, and that's what I've wanted for so long. We've spent some time together, and I'm seeing him again tomorrow. He's so extremely adventurous, never sits down for a second. He loves Miss Rachel and Green. Don't know who those people are. We're going to keep going. I found out he and the neighbor's cat will stare each other down, which I used to do when I stayed at Dad's. I could talk for hours about him. I'm so glad you guys helped me meet him. I can't thank you enough for that. Dad. My dad was there the first time I met my brother. I knew beforehand. Well, yeah, because it's his child. Obviously, my brother is a toddler, so we met at Dad's siblings' aunt's house. Dad's siblings' aunt's house? So his aunt, your dad's aunt. Anyway, I was told he'd stay. Obviously, my brother is a toddler, so we met at Dad's siblings' aunt's house. It's a wild combo. I was told he'd stay in the kitchen the whole time. I caught him peeking at me and my brother a few times throughout the day, which of course he's going to do, because he's a human being who's also your father. When I was leaving, my dad followed me out and just hugged me. He told me he misses me. I hugged him back and told him I missed him too. As you know, it was the first time I've spoken to him in years. He apologized and took accountability. I started angry crying, then just let everything out. I told him how they made me feel, my mental health, and that I'll love him, but I'll never forgive him. Dude, you were right there! You were right at the finish line, dog. You were right freaking there.
You literally had the most heartfelt moment. You know what? 18-year-old forgiveness will come.
18, 19, whatever. Yeah, I just hope that when you realize that you want a relationship with your dad and you do forgive him, that it's not like too late. Those are the most tragic events in people's lives. It's just like, what if, I wish, You had it right there. You angry cried. You said how it made you feel. And then it's like, dang, you literally said you missed him. Over what?
Spilt milk.
Over literally a bowl of cereal being thrown in the trash.
And he said something really dumb.
Honestly, statistically, I bet you what he suggested is more often than not exactly what's happening. The 17-year-old in the situation is instigating in some way. I would have done that if I was 17. I'd be instigating.
But the thing is, that's one of those things where when we were 17, we didn't learn. So I guarantee you, we can't tell OP how to feel and how to forgive.
We can't.
It's just up to OP. It is. This is on OP to forgive her father when that time comes.
Your dad's respected your boundaries this whole time. He's just been waiting.
Tammy too.
He asked me if he could try to make it up to me and be a part of my life again. I said we can try, but I'm making no promises on ever getting back the relationship we once had. 17. We've spoken a few times, and he has helped me when I needed to bring my large dog home from the vets. Now to Tammy. You guys are going to be shocked, but I was the one who contacted her. I got my mom to call her to basically say, Jessica is with me. She wants to speak to you. Jessica being OP. Tammy was obviously shocked, but agreed. I told her, after everything she put me through and how much she hurt me, that we'd never have a relationship, but I'm willing, just for my brother's sake, not hers or mine, to be civil because I want us to be able to attend my brother's events without drama. 17. By the way, you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this, all the juicy drama you could ever want in your life. Just go to Spotify or iHeart or Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search OK Storytime.
It's pretty easy.
That's all you have to do. It's a 2-step program. Go to where you listen, type in the name, and then technically the third step would be to hit the search button, and then the fourth step would be listening. So it's a 4-step system.
So he lied to you.
I did, just a little bit, but I corrected it.
Let's just finish it up.
Tammy started apologizing and telling me she's not like that anymore. She got help, which I'm glad she's doing better. We talked about the Sarah situation and my brother for a few minutes. The whole call maybe lasted 20 minutes. I've not spoken to her since, but that was only 5 days ago. So that's it, really. My last update. I know what people are thinking about my dad. I've not forgiven him, and he will have to work extremely hard to get back the relationship we lost, but I feel better that he's back in my life, and I do believe both of them regret it. But if I get any crap or think my brother isn't being treated well, I will make their lives hell. 17. Thanks so much, Reddit, for the amazing advice. My name is Jessica, and I'm praying I'll never have to make a post on here again. And that is the end of that story.
I give it some time. I think everything's going to be repaired, and OP's going to realize, yes, whatever she experienced wasn't fair to her and wasn't right, but I give it time. I think everyone here is trying to get back on the right path and the right relationship. Yeah, just some time, some growing. Just let things be, and things will be healed. But that is the end of that story. My father slept with my wife and got her pregnant?
That's my wife!
I had a crap show birthday with a few close friends at my own house. At the end of the party, after everyone left, my dad told me that he needed to confess something that was unaliving him inside. I said, sure. By the way, this comes from user throwaway dad is a POS. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, he first started off saying that he did a lot of wrong to me and my wife. He hoped that I could forgive him. I was confused to what he was talking about. I asked what he did that he needed my forgiveness. He said to me that when I was on a business trip, he invited my wife. My wife and dad got together one day, and they ended up doing the thing that led to my wife carrying his baby.
This is going to be really confusing.
I just responded, WTF, is this a joke? He told me that he was being serious and not lying to me. I still couldn't believe what I was hearing. He kept going on and on, saying that the baby didn't survive, and I couldn't bear to hear it. So I just said, stop the BS, and told him to leave my house. I physically pushed him out of my house, and I went directly to my bedroom. My wife wasn't at my birthday party at all, as she was hanging out with her girls. We were planning to go out for a date night later, but it's not going to happen. My wife doesn't know that my dad confessed to me about their affair. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how I'm going to look at my wife and ask if this was true or not. After some time, I went downstairs again to check the front door, and my dad was still waiting in his car. He was just staring at the steering wheel, crying. I really wanted him to go away, wanted to say something, but couldn't, because I didn't trust myself to not do something cruel. My wife still hasn't come home yet. Thanks, POS Dad, for giving me the best birthday gift ever.
Oh, yeah.
And we have an update, but Angie,
Yikes, man.
yikes on a bike.
Yikes on bikes. For real. I just peed in my pants. I just peed right in my pants. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. I'm speechless. I'm left speechless because wow. So is this child born yet? Is that
No,
what happens?
supposedly again the child didn't make it.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, that's unfortunate.
I don't know if the child was most likely the child was terminated. Maybe we'll get more information, but it
Yeah.
seems like he didn't even know that she was pregnant.
Okay, so she just did it.
We have an update. I went to my female neighbor's house. An hour later or so, my wife kept calling me. She called me 3 times, but I ignored her. On her 4th call, my neighbor told me to pick the phone up. So, I did. She stopped crying, but she was still so distressed from her voice. She asked how I was doing and really wanted me to come back, but I said I can't. So, she asked if she'd talk over the phone. I said yes. Then she said that she indeed was together with my dad when I was on the business trip. She said that one day he invited her over, so she went to his place. Don't give him details. At the time, my wife was unemployed and looking for jobs. She was already stressed from not having any income and was lonely because of me being away from home frequently for long periods, because you were making money for both of you. My dad had lost his wife at the time, which made him lonely too. My grandfather had his own business and gave it to my dad in his last years. He passed away too. During that time, my dad was running the business. He thought he'd make a deal with my wife. The deal was that my dad would give my wife a position at his business in exchange for spicy sleep to fulfill his widow's fire.
Because someone's got to put the wood in.
Oh my gosh.
What's wrong with you?
Okay, so this
I come from a
Welcome back.
sawmill.
Welcome back.
He said
Sick.
fire.
Riley is still sick, as you can see.
so many issues, so many layers to this story. My goodness. My goodness.
That's how everything happened. I really was speechless when she told me these things. I didn't know how to react. I would hope so. But I thanked her for telling her side of the story and said that I'll get back to her later. I hung up. We recorded the whole telephone call. My neighbor said that I should send a message to my dad confirming my wife's side of the story. That's what I did, and I asked my dad if the things that my wife said were true. He said, yes. I took a screenshot of our text exchange. Now that the truth has come out, I feel better, but it has raised more questions. Like, why sleep with my dad just to get a job? Why sleep with my wife instead of an escort to get rid of your loneliness? None of their reasons excuse their evil act of betrayal and infidelity towards me. Once my dad confirmed everything, my neighbor and I went to my house and told my dad to come over. We had the talk finally. They said that this happened on a weekend, and they spent the whole weekend together constantly having spicy sleep without any protection.
No.
Oh gosh.
You're just putting salt in the wound.
I just need to know, like, if she felt pressured to do any of this stuff. You know, it's very
Or, like,
possible that she didn't, and that
If she
just,
liked it,
well,
or if it was better,
Yeah, you know,
Sure.
like you're like, oh, you
what
could.
positions they had,
we
all
don't
this
need to know
information.
all those details.
She's like, wow, you do look like OP, but like hotter.
hotter.
You have a silver fox thing going
yeah,
on.
yeah,
Yeah.
It's like, well, good to know that my husband will look like that in about 20 years.
Yeah. And it was just on that weekend. That makes it so much better.
Mm-hmm.
After that, they never had an intimate connection.
Cool.
Oh, cool. Clean slate. Great.
For sure, for sure.
I asked my wife if she slept with anyone else, and she said no. Regarding our kids, I requested my dad to order 3 DNA tests for each of us to confirm any suspected paternity. My kids don't have to take a DNA test because they already did the ancestry test to learn more about our genealogy a few years ago. We didn't, but now that we are in this situation, we're going to do it too. However, my wife was annoyed that I was requesting the DNA test. She got so disappointed and told me that I don't trust her and that I insinuated that those children aren't mine.
Well,
I wonder
yes.
why.
I'm so
exactly
disappointed
correct.
in you for doing that. You know?
How dare you think that just because I slept with your dad on this weekend that you know about, how dare you think that I did it again another time?
Yeah.
How dare.
When my wife told me not to request a DNA test, my neighbor said, you have to do the DNA test. And of course he doesn't trust you anymore. And if you have nothing to hide, why are you so against the DNA test?
Question.
Exactly.
Why is this neighbor so involved?
It's probably like
that's
it's already, yeah,
I
they're
was
cool.
wondering that too. They're probably just friends with their neighbor.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay,
they're
okay.
probably friends with a neighbor.
I was
Yeah.
like, dude, he's in the tea here, man.
Yeah, he's just getting
Yeah, he
all
got the
dirt.
entire thing like, hey, happy birthday. What'd you get today?
It's a
Uh.
devastating news.
Yeah, breaking news.
Dang, dude.
My wife responded, don't poke your nose into this. This is between me and my husband. My neighbor then said to my wife, unlike you, I don't poke my nose into other men's wieners, let alone my father-in-law's wiener.
That's a hilarious image. I'm just gonna say that someone hooking up is one thing. Poking your nose in a wiener. That's hilarious.
My wife couldn't say anything to that. She reluctantly agreed to take the DNA test. My dad ordered the test in front of all of us. My dad once again told me how remorseful he was. He kept apologizing over and over again. My wife was the same. They started crying again, and I got pissed again. I told him that you guys are all pieces of crap, and that I never expected this from the both of you. I told my dad that he could have just slept with any other woman out there, but selfishly decided to sleep with my wife.
Mm-hmm.
I also told my wife that she's so cheap that she literally sold her body for spicy sleep just to get a job in my dad's business at the expense of destroying our family.
Oh, dude, I forgot about the job thing.
I have not.
Oh my gosh.
Yikes. Yeah, it's definitely. I still need to know because it's very common for this to happen and for women to just obviously feel like pressured for this.
With their father-in-laws?
Whoever. Yeah.
Oh, well, okay.
With
Okay.
who-
Like a
with who-
power struggle.
Exactly.
Got it.
Like to get a job. That's a very common thing. Absolutely crappy behavior. Not to just do that with OP's wife, but to do that to anyone at all.
Yeah, scratching my head. She could have just asked him for the job. Like, hey,
Yeah.
could
Hey.
I get a job?
We're related now. Yeah.
I asked her if my dad, the job, and our family were worth it. She couldn't give an answer. She was guilty, and she told me that she should have been more patient in getting a job she liked. But she then confessed to me that she voluntarily left his business because of the guilt of what she did in order to get that job. I asked my dad why he confessed now, and asked my wife why she kept this a secret. My dad told me that he just wanted to clear his conscience and this heavy guilt, and that he was having a hard time living his life with this big of a vile secret. My wife told me that she didn't want to ruin our relationship and that she feared that she'd lose me. I said to my wife that had she had told me immediately at the time, then our relationship could have been saved. I don't know. But after a lifetime of our entire marriage built on lies, she brought this upon herself, and that her fear is now coming true. As for my dad, I told him that he is such a piece of crap, and that he will always carry this guilt because now he's going to live with the guilt of breaking our family for the rest of his life. I told both of them that in the end, they are losers, and they will never get our family back. I told them that it was so clear how they were passing away to be in each other's pants, and finally, they can have each other.
Mm.
My neighbor said to them, again, the neighbor.
The nosy neighbor.
Nosy neighbor.
I love it.
The neighbor says, "You guys deserve each other and F yourselves to rot in hell. You guys are the worst monsters that I've ever seen."
I love this character. This is so funny.
Honestly, the neighbor tells it how he sees it.
He has absolutely no business to say any of that, but I'm so glad he did.
Yeah.
Because that's hilarious.
If you have read my comment, you know how my wife sent my dad an email saying, "It's all over." I told them both loudly and clearly that it wasn't over at the time. It's all over now. At this point, my dad couldn't bear to look at me anymore. So he just left our house, and my wife had a full-blown breakdown. She was hitting herself, curling on the floor,
Ooh.
screaming, while I just looked at her with contempt and
Oh
disdain.
my gosh.
Oh, gosh.
Whoa, this is a bigger issue than we got to figure out here.
I mean, she got caught. I quietly said to myself that she deserved all of this. And this is only the beginning of her pain and the destruction she caused. I just looked at her. Once her breakdown was over, I just asked her to leave, but she begged to stay, which I said that she can't stay anymore and that she has to leave for a few days. After an hour of begging, she just said, "F it," and left.
Mm.
I don't know where she went, but I am happy and feel relieved, probably to your dad. I don't care to know where she is. I don't want to think about her nor my dad anymore.
Dude, Christmases, Thanksgivings from now on. Eventually.
Crazy.
I don't know. I feel bad for the kids.
Step
that's weird.
grandpa, dad. I'm stuck.
It's your grandpa-in-law not
Ugh.
being Riley.
Riley's
needs
back.
to be-
Riley's back, ladies and
Dude,
gentlemen.
I was locked in my room for a day. Let me have this.
No.
I'm an innocent bystander. In the midst of this ugly confrontation, my neighbor
I love this neighbor. Keep
my
it-
neighbor
keep it up.
recorded everything.
Hell yeah. Let's do it.
After my wife left, my neighbor sent me the recording and said how proud she was of me. Oh, it's a she. And said how proud she was of me for standing up for myself and keeping my coolness, and that I deserve every happiness in the world, and that I am now free to get the life I always deserved away from these pieces of crap. We hugged, and I cried again. But you can never cry with us. Unless if you want to.
Don't do it.
When listening to full episodes with stories just like this one, you can go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or iHeartRadio and search what, Angie?
Okay, story time. Because you're going to find full episodes with more stories. Just like this one. Just like this one. And then we can all touch grass together because, oh my God.
Yeah, we
they're
need to clean. We need
entertaining.
to yeah.
But
Today's
at what
stories have been a
cost?
little wild.
They've been crazy.
They've been a little
today.
off the grid.
They've been crazy.
Great content, but boy oh boy, they're like, whoa.
Boy, oh boy, do I
Um,
need to roll around in the mud.
Let's just get into it. I mean,
Let's get this over with. Oh
Yeah.
my God.
I'm so happy that I have the best neighbor in the world, and I wish that my wife was like her instead of being a monster. So the confrontation happened, and we are now waiting for our DNA test kits. We will do the test and send it off. We'll wait a couple weeks for the results to come, and let's see what we're gonna come across. I hope a bag of a whole other lies isn't opened, but you never know. Got to be prepared for the worst. Now, the question is, are those kids mine, my father's, or someone else's? And that's the end of that story.
Dang it, his account is suspended. I can't check to see if it's his kids or not.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Good
Dang.
golly, Miss Molly.
Wow.
Wow, that is
That is
a lot.
wild.
That is a lot.
Wild, man. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Ah.
yeah.
The kid growing up and figuring all that out is a whole nother Reddit story in itself.
It's a villain arc.
Yeah. I refused my stepmother's baby name request, but she won't stop.
No names here.
I'm currently 29 weeks pregnant with the girl. My husband and I have already chosen her name, as well as 2 backups in case it doesn't suit her. By the way, this comes from Remarkable Roll 7685, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime at subreddit. So, my dad's wife lost her mother a little under a year ago. They were extremely close, and her passing was unexpected, so she's not coping well. My husband and I are trying to be as helpful and accommodating as possible, but we don't live in the same country as them anymore, so there isn't much we can do. Back in February, my dad and his wife came to visit us for 10 days to celebrate our son's birthday. This was our first time seeing them after her mother's passing, and their first time seeing me pregnant. Earlier during the trip, we had dinner together. We all started talking about my pregnancy and the baby, and when my dad asked if we had any names in mind, his wife stopped us. She asked us if we could consider naming our daughter after her mother. She said that she had been waiting to ask us this since she learned that we were having a girl, and it would mean a lot to her if we could honor her mother like that. I don't think I have to justify why I wouldn't do that, but in case I do, I never liked her mother or thought of either of them as family. Even if I did, my husband doesn't like the idea of using our children's names as tributes, so we wouldn't name them after any of our deceased loved ones. My husband and I were taken aback. My dad looked a little awkward, so I think he was already expecting her to bring that up. I said I was sorry, but we had already chosen the name and weren't interested in changing it. And the mood passed away a bit, but we did manage to change the subject and enjoy the rest of the evening. My dad's wife was quieter than usual for the next few days, but she didn't bring that up again until the final night of their trip. Everyone was at our place. She pulled me aside and once again expressed how perfect it would be for us to keep her mother's memory alive by naming a child after her. She started talking about how much she would have loved it and how a beautiful name such as hers shouldn't go to waste. I interrupted her and said there is 0 chance we would ever consider naming our child after her mother. I told her it would never be up for discussion, and for her own sake, she needs to accept that and stop bringing it up. I was admittedly harsher than I intended, but I am not sure she would have gotten the message otherwise. She barely spoke to me and my husband until she and my dad flew home the next day. My dad and I have been talking about this. He agrees with our refusal. He didn't really like his mother-in-law either, though he never admitted it, but thinks that I shouldn't have turned his wife down like that. He told me that she's still dealing with her mother's passing and I should have been more sympathetic. He's insistent that she wouldn't mind our daughter's name if we at least told her we'd consider honoring her mother. I don't think humoring her would have been the best call, but I am worried I was too harsh. Am I the a-hole? We do have some comments, but Riley, what was your comment?
So this is her way of grieving?
I think so.
It's her way of grieving and
Coping.
trying and coping and trying to honor
Yeah.
her mother, but that's not fair.
Yeah, it's usually not their choice.
Yeah.
Great thing to do, but again, it's like it's hard to ask someone else to name their child that, and especially as their first name. So
Yeah.
they kind of have to do that themselves.
I'm sorry. A child is supposed to name their kid, not
Yeah.
you.
Not the stepmom.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. But there are some comments. Comment number 1 says, not the a-hole. She didn't take no when y'all politely said it. So harshly was the only way to get your point across. It's always weird when someone asks you to name a child after someone. It wouldn't even mean the same if you didn't do it because you wanted to. OP responds, when my son was born, my dad joked that his name was available, but didn't say anything besides that and didn't complain about the name we actually chose. He later told me that it was a joke and he always thought that that was a bad idea. Comment number 2 says, you owe her nothing, especially since you just call her dad's wife. So she doesn't even sound like a close stepmom.
Yeah.
It's sad that her mother passed away, but what does that have to do with you and your unborn child? Don't let her emotionally manipulate you into changing your mind. OP responds, my dad started seeing her when I was already in college, and he wasn't interested in remarrying at the time, so I never really registered her as family. I did live with them for a little while, but we had wildly different personalities, so we were never really close.
Hear me out.
There's an update, by the way.
Go.
Stepmom,
Mhm.
get your own kid.
There you go.
Make it, adopt it, find it.
Or you can get a pet. Get a good cat. Name it
Mm.
Dolores or whatever
Really?
your mom's name.
Really?
Sure.
Really?
Go ahead. Yeah. That's great because then she could take care of that pet and the pet won't leave her. Because kids
Yeah,
will
and
do
she'll
that.
she'll love the pet unconditionally.
Yeah. Update. This is 4 months later. Baby
Oh,
should be here by now.
baby's here.
I gave birth to a healthy baby girl back in May. Yay! She's now a month old and thriving. We're all in love with her. My husband and I decided to go with our first choice for her name. Truth be told, the backups didn't stand a chance, and it suits her perfectly. My dad stopped bringing up the subject of how I'd talked to his wife a few weeks after my post. The last thing he said about this essentially boiled down to be nice to my wife, but for the love of God, don't name my granddaughter after my mother-in-law. He wanted to visit us this month to meet the baby, but I told him to wait a while longer. The house is a mess and we're still getting used to having 2 kids.
Aww.
His wife has been very detached from anything that concerns my daughter. She spent the weeks leading up to my baby's birth radio silent. She usually lives on her phone and texts frequently, so I figured she was still upset. Both my and my husband's families like our daughter's name. My dad in particular complimented it a lot. I want to know what this name is, man.
Let's say May, because it was born in
He
May.
was born in May. Okay, sure. His wife did not react to it. My aunt visited them regularly, and she later told me that while my dad would show her pictures and videos of my daughter, his wife avoided the topic entirely and was cold whenever someone tried to get her to engage. To be clear, none of that ever bothered me, but this behavior was very out of character for her. When I was pregnant with my son, she created a group chat with my whole paternal family and her mother to start a countdown for his birth. She was my only acquaintance who protested when I said I didn't want pictures of my child posted online. About a week ago, my wife's dad called me. She reiterated that she felt that I wasn't being very understanding of what she's going through, but apologized for how cold she's been lately. During the call, she explained that losing her mother had made her regret her decision to not have kids. Oh, wow. Her mother had always wanted to be a grandmother, and she wishes that she could have given her the opportunity to experience that. Okay, this is a good experience.
You know what that sounds like? An issue, not an ish me.
Oh, that's a good one right there.
This
Whoops.
guy.
Wow. She took her mother's passing very hard, and it made her reflect about various things that she wishes she had done differently. But the news of my second pregnancy intensified that regret in particular. My dad's wife said that she'll always wish I had named my daughter after her mother, but still accepts the name I chose. She also told me that she'll start seeing a therapist soon. Well, good. I was mostly quiet during the call because, frankly, I didn't know how to react. Having since had a time to think about what she said, I'm a little freaked out. It's still hard to explain how I feel, and this isn't even close to my top concern right now, but I didn't see this coming. I almost felt bad admitting this, but I'm very glad that we're in different hemispheres. I can't imagine what she's going through, and I wish her nothing but the best, but I don't think being close to family right now would be good for either of us. Well, thinking back to how I handled things when she first asked us to use her mother's name, I'm pretty sure I made the right call. I sincerely wish I had been more polite, but humoring her would have probably led to a much bigger headache. But I sincerely wish that you will go to iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is, and search OK Storytime, because you're going to find more full episodes of stories just like this one. Get on over there. Go. Humor me. There's a little bit more to the story. Let's wrap this on up.
Great.
So, I'm not sure when we'll see her again, but it won't be until next year. My dad will come visit us in October, but she won't come with him. When she does meet my daughter, I hope she's doing better. Right now, I'll focus on my children. Postpartum sucks, and my husband and I are still getting adjusted to being a family of 4, but we love both of our kids so much. I don't know how I got so lucky. Edit to those asking, I'm freaked out because I wasn't expecting her reasoning to be that she regretted not giving her mother grandchildren, as I stated in the post. I sympathize with her grief, and I'm glad she's decided to get help. And that, my friends, is the end of that story. We've got another one coming right up for you, but it sounds like everything worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the dad was like, even your dad was like, please do not do that.
Don't
That's-
listen to her.
I don't want my granddaughter to have my mother-in-law's name. Don't do that.
Yeah, exactly. I refuse to let my mother stay with me.
Get out, Mom.
I'm going to go through a long timeline of events, but to start, my mom isn't the nicest person. Until I was like 12, we never really had a full conversation.
Oh.
What type of conversations were you having?
Hey, Mom. Today at school, I was learning how to do fractions, and I thought it was pretty cool, but it was kind of difficult. And they told me to ask you some questions about the fractions to see if you could help me on my homework.
Yeah, it's Google. That helps.
Okay, Mom.
That's it. I can't risk saying too many words to you, otherwise it'll become a full conversation, but I've already said too much already, so I'm leaving. Goodbye.
It got worse in 2020. My dad had left our family, and so it was just her, my little sibling, and me. That time, I got super sad and didn't shower, do the chores, anything like that. This led to my rockiest period with my mom. She would yell at me to take out the trash or do the dishes, and I would just stay in my bed, triggered and even less willing to do my chores. By the way, this comes from Neither League 3163, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, of course, that isn't really an excuse, but over the past 3 years, I've told my mom explicitly to stop yelling at me. Because it was making my bad habits worse. Every time she promised. And then after a few months, we would be back to square one, and sometimes her screams would be even more explosive. My last straw was 6 months ago when she started the rule that if we didn't do the dishes or throw out the trash, we didn't get food.
Oh my God.
Yikes. That's not
Call
good.
CPS.
She would buy groceries for herself, but not for me or my sibling. And to be clear, at that time, I was working full-time with full-time college. My sister was still in high school doing a bunch of APs and extracurriculars, and my mom had quit her job to work on an online business at home. She quit her job?
You can earn so much by working at home.
It didn't make sense to me why she expected us to do all the chores when she was at home all the time. Then to threaten to take away our food for it? At that moment, I knew I wanted to leave and never talk to her again. The next couple of months were like a fever dream. I stupidly blurted out that I was planning to leave, but she didn't seem to care. In fact, she passive-aggressively said that she'll even let my siblings stay with me and that she's only going to live for herself. That's when she went on a 2-month-long business trip. She works from home for her own business. During that time, I finished signing a lease to a great low-income apartment. I started to actually relax and see my future again, one with me and my sibling in our tiny studio, working together to take care of ourselves, inviting friends over, etc. I learned how to be an adult and stuff through my older college friends, advisors, and so on. I felt so supported and at peace. And you're probably doing all those chores.
Right?
So there we go.
Literally just by living as an adult, you do the chores by default.
When my mom came back, she was calm. I still felt so tense around her, but it seemed like she mellowed out a lot over the trip. Like she wasn't getting mad at me for leaving the lights on and wasting power. Wait, didn't you move out?
I don't know, maybe when he's visiting or something.
Yeah, I'm confused. Didn't OP move out? And I thought you got a studio with your sibling.
Yeah, I'm confused too.
She bought us takeout a lot. Even when I still acted upset around her, she would actually back off and let me cool down. And finally, this feels really silly, but she thanked me for taking care of my sibling and commended me for my strength. She said she was proud, and I felt validated by her. I still didn't like living with her, but I thought maybe I could keep contact with her. Then last night happened. This week is my finals. And so I've been sleeping from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m., studying from 11 to 6 a.m., going to class at 7 to 11, and then working between 12 to 6 p.m. Dang, that's terrible. I'm absolutely exhausted, and because of that, I stupidly forgot I had a final tomorrow at the same time we were supposed to have movers help us load and unload our rented truck.
Oh my goodness.
I honestly, OP, I think you should do, it's going to sound awful, 7-Eleven, because I'm assuming you can't have classes at, well, actually, no, you might be able to have classes from 7-Eleven the whole time. And then you go to work 12 to 6, take an hour break, and then do all of your studying, like take an hour nap, do all of your studying from like, let's say 7:30 to 11, and then go to sleep. Because your schedule sounds bad.
Yeah, that's a little
6
bit crazy.
p.m. to 11 p.m. and then studying from 11 to 6 a.m. is insane. That's a bad schedule, OP.
7 p.m. to 6 a.m. is insanity.
That's a bad schedule.
Hi.
My mom checked in with me today and I told her about it. To be honest, I didn't think it was a big deal because we have different crews helping us load and unload, with my mom moving the truck. I wasn't going to be available for the loading crew, but we have everything packed, so in my mind, there was nothing to really coordinate. But she completely snapped at me in the same furious, loud, yelling way. She kept telling me how I promised. Why couldn't I just do it anyway? And that we don't have much time. She then said she was canceling our truck reservation and that I was on my own. FYI, I do not have a driver's license. Financial issues and depression got in the way. And my mom offered to pay and drive the truck to help save costs. Not only am I going to lose the money from paying for the movers because of this last-minute cancellation, but we all have less than a week until our lease for the current apartment we all live in together until that ends.
Oh, no.
To say that she completely sabotaged me is an understatement.
Yeah, Opie's the one paying for it. What are you crying about?
I don't understand.
She's not even paying for it.
She's not paying for it.
Oh, this mom sucks.
I think you have to like completely move out. Like don't have any contact. Like or don't be living with your mom at all.
Yeah.
Because, this isn't working.
I agree.
I know I'm at fault for messing up my timing, but I just couldn't take it anymore. I embarrassingly just started screaming like I was being unalived. I broke down ugly, crying and wailing. I was pulling my hair out and just crumpled onto the floor. I've never done that before. I feel absolutely foolish and dramatic for doing that. This leads me to my final point. A week before all this, my mom sat me down and asked if she could stay with me for the next 2 months. Wait, okay, so she's not staying with them. Okay, because that's what I thought, but then it sounded like she was kind of staying with, like she's coming over all the time.
Yeah.
So she's not staying with you currently.
Was it that all of them were moving out of the old apartment and then OP was moving into their new apartment and the mom's like, hey, now I don't have a place to stay, so let me live with you for 2 months? Which that probably means for forever, for free.
Okay, so OP signed a lease to a great low-income apartment, and then they had it. Yeah, okay, so they hadn't moved in yet. Yeah.
OP
so
hadn't moved into
they
the
hadn't
new
moved
apartment.
into the new apartment yet.
Yes.
That's what it seems like, because OP was like seeing that future of being like, oh, I'm gonna like live with my sibling. It's gonna be so great.
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. So
And
it
the
doesn't
mom's
seem like
also
they had.
moving out.
Yes.
Yeah. Everyone.
Emily Lame says OP was moving and mom is trying to mooch. And when OP said no, mom said, I'm not helping you. Okay. Yeah. So OP had not yet moved out. Honestly, my hairs pricked up when she asked. I felt like she was starting to invade my space again. And I was scared she would ruin the peace and comfort I found at my apartment. Again, we were wrong. Apparently, OP is gone. OP has moved out. I don't understand. I guess is moving to a new place maybe?
Well,
Does
maybe
anyone...
maybe they were saying that was like right before the move, but now OP is at their new place.
I'll keep going.
Yeah.
It's a little bit confusing. But if I said no, she would have nowhere else to go. Ever since she quit her job, her savings have depleted and she's even asked for money to help pay bills and stuff. And then because of our relationship was improving, I accepted, despite my body screaming to say no. Now I don't know if I am in the mental space to decide, especially after my mental freakout. But I need to know whether I should let my mom stay with me. I don't think I can mentally have her with me for even 1 more week, but my moral compass won't let me fully commit to that. We have less than a week, but I'm just not ready to sit down and think about it right now. So would I be the a-hole if I don't let my mom stay at my place, even if she could become homeless? And there is an update, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Bad Pool Girl the mom is asking if she can move with them. I was just kind of, there's an update, but I was a little bit confused because OP had already moved out to a new place because that's what they said. They were staying in their new apartment. And so it seems like they're once again moving. But regardless.
Don't move in with your mother.
Yeah. I mean, what about the whole time and everything else that she's had a place to live? What about that?
Yeah, I'm
Can she
confused.
not-
Why is she losing that place?
You know, if you're
That doesn't make any sense.
you're of college age, it sounds like. So it sounds like for at least the past 18 years and probably longer, she's had some sort of box-like structure to for you and her to live in. Could she not figure out a plan to get another box-like structure, aka a home, to be in? And she's a big girl.
Yeah, what did she do with that home? Where did it go?
And the business.
And the business.
What is this online? She quit her job.
Yeah, maybe she can get a job. if
Yes.
she's so, low on cash.
Yeah. This business sounds like
She'll
she
figure
just
it out.
went on vacation for 2 months and then that's it. She went
Yeah.
on vacation for 2 months. No wonder you out of money. You have no job and spent 2 months on a vacation. Well, that's hard to keep money then.
It is.
It's hard.
So OP, that is not your responsibility at all. And it seems like your living situation was going really well with your sibling and like not having your mom around. So just remember that. Remember how good it was. And also, you don't really owe your mom anything because she wasn't even feeding you guys.
Simba, remember. Remember, Simba. Look to the stars.
There's an update though.
Let's do it.
I'm so used to being ignored a lot of the time, even when I had my intense breakdowns because my mom would never react. Either she'd walk away or stare at me blankly while I'm a wreck, and after so much of that, I think I convinced myself that I was wrong, guilty, shameful, and dramatic. At the same time, though, I also think all of the people were right in that deep inside, even as I was writing the post. I knew we were a toxic and horrible match. As for the update, my sister and I are fully moved in now. Yay! While I did not roll high on loving family, I have an exceptional friend group. They all help me pay for the movers and moving truck while also helping me move boxes themselves and comforting me through the mess. Yay!
That's so
This
sweet.
is great. They're the best. This morning, though, I woke up with a text from my mom. I think I'll just send a screenshot of the whole thing because honestly, I had a hard time reading it. Basically, the whole thing was littered with the same frustrations and excuses she's had since 2020. That I don't seem like I'm doing enough. She was tired and she had a hard time controlling her emotions. The whole time, I was just thinking of every moment she screamed in my face when I was literally breaking down on the floor crying, and how half the time she apologized and how 100% of the time her promises to change were temporary. The worst part is that I just think my mom is simply unempathetic. Whenever I say something like, I'm tired, she always responds with, you're tired. You can't be as tired as I am. I'm old. If I don't do something well or don't know something, she'll say something alluding to me being stupid, but claim that she never actually called me stupid. And if I ask about anything serious that is related to me, especially finances, she says, you're too young to understand. Not to mention, she does this and then flips around to tell me she loves and cares about me.
Boo. Boo.
This is an understatement, but she is emotionally exhausting to be around. But it's never exhausting listening to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime.
Do it.
There's a little bit left to the story. What does OP do?
Well, I hate this mama.
I hate her.
I hate this
I
mama
hate her.
so much.
Yeah, well, KK says maybe she's bipolar. I think she kind of said she has trouble regulating her emotions. So
That could be the
could
case.
be, yeah.
And then maybe unmedicated if that's
Yeah,
the case.
absolutely.
But yeah, like at the end of the day, OP doesn't deserve this. OP or their sibling.
Nope.
Both don't deserve this. And hey, OP's got a good head on their shoulders.
Mhm.
And it can be super hard, especially from like your parent in the environment. We talk about reality distortion fields
Yeah.
from like, like a partner, somebody you're dating or married to. Dude, your mom and that's like you're fully rewired your brain.
Oh, yeah.
So it can be hard to kind of like, and you were so overworked and everything.
And young. Like OP's probably like 19 maybe max.
So much burden on OP's shoulders, and they're handling it so well, and they totally deserve their own space and peace. And
yes,
they've done the work. They've been going to school. Like you've quite literally earned that space by doing taking all that responsibility and doing all these things to have it. So
yeah,
your mom can freaking
yeah
find her own situation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She'll figure it out. She'll get a job like you did. And also just imagine your current schedule
That sucks.
and then putting your mom into it.
Oh my God.
Nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
Nightmare.
Nightmare.
Not for me.
Truly, yeah. She's got her own problems to solve and she's an adult and she'll figure them out. Right now, you're literally taking care of your sibling. You don't need to take care of your mom too.
That's big fact.
But there's a little bit left.
Let's do it.
Anyway, I have not explicitly told her I won't let her anywhere near my apartment because I feel both my energy and my tears will be completely drained if I dare to even try to talk or respond to her. I've let my landlord know, though, so that makes me feel more secure about that. She still tries to keep in contact with my sibling, which stresses me out. I'm planning on opening a secret bank account for them just in case. The messages seemed a bit fishy. Great job, OP. I mean, just like how mature and how like you're doing a great job of being, unfortunately, a parent, but for your siblings' sake, fortunately, that they have someone in their life that is willing to like take care of them. When your mom is not stepping up for you guys.
You're doing great, OP.
You're doing great.
So shout out to you.
Yeah, and good luck. Change your sleep schedule. It's bad.
Yes.
Stop doing the 11 to 6 study. That's bad.
11 p.m. to 6 a.m. studying is great, especially considering that you're already doing all the other stuff during the other hours of the day.
Yeah.
Time.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Let's do hour, 2-hour break, study for a couple hours, go sleep.
Yeah. Or even like take half the course load.
Well, yeah, that's true.
So you can like, yes, it will take longer, of course, or like 3, whatever, you can decide what the sliding scale is, but if it's half the course load, you get like a lot of that time back, and it's way less pressure. And yeah, it's too much for one person to.
Well, that was the end of that story.
Yep. That's the end of that story. But Sophia,
we've got another story.
Coming up.
I refuse to have my grandmother at my wedding. Now everyone's against me.
Everyone hates me.
I, 30 female, am getting married June 7th. I have sent out the invitation, and my mother's bio mom, 70 female, found out that she was not invited to my wedding, which caused some extended family members to lose their minds. By the way, this comes from Weekly Debate 2938, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. And I'm Angie.
I'm Sophia.
So OP says, for some background, my mom's 53 female bio mom, Susan, was still in high school when she had her. Her mother tried to convince her to give up my mom for adoption, but she refused. When my mom was 2, she basically dumped my mom on her mother and took off. She didn't leave a note or anything, just kind of took off with my mom's bio dad and didn't look back. I consider my bio great-grandma to be my grandma, as my mom views her as her mother. When my mom was 15, her bio parents showed back up one day and apparently tried to act like nothing ever happened with 2 more kids. My mom's bio sister was 14 and her brother was 6. My mom bonded with her bio sister as more cousins than siblings, but my mom has never been close with the bio brother. My mom's best friend, who was around for all of this, said that this was a very hard time for her. Anyway, when my aunt turned 18, she stopped talking to Susan and her brother and moved in with my grandma. At both my mom and aunt's weddings, my grandma was treated as the mother of the bride, and my grandpa gave them both away instead of their bio dad. Now, I don't like Susan, not only because of the way that she treats my mom and my aunt, but also for the way that she treats me, my siblings, and my cousins. All of us have always called Susan by her first name, and very few people know that she's actually my mom's bio mom, as most people thought that my mom was just a late-in-life baby of my grandparents. My fiance, 33 male, and I sent our wedding invitation out months ago, and Susan never said anything. She didn't reach out or attend any of the previous parties, like the engagement party, bridal shower. Not that she would have been invited, even if she had expressed an interest. About a week ago, somehow it became more commonly known who Susan is biologically to my mother. We didn't go around advertising it, but it wasn't a secret either, so I didn't really think about it. However, Susan called me out of the blue. I didn't know she even knew my phone number, and I didn't recognize hers, and she started screaming over the phone about how, as her only living grandchild, she deserves to be a part of the wedding party. What? Part of the wedding party, too? She wants to be a bridesmaid?
I want to be a bridesmaid.
What?
I deserve it.
It took me a minute to figure out that I was talking to Susan. I made it clear to her that it would not be happening in a polite manner, simply reminding her that she has never expressed an interest in acting like my grandmother before now, and that we hardly know each other. And she didn't like that answer, apparently, and started yelling at me more and calling my mom and my aunt terrible names for choosing my grandparents to act as parents of the bride in their wedding. I told her calmly that insulting my mom was not going to get her an invitation and that I had no control over events that happened 30 years ago. I also told her that she's had plenty of opportunities to repair her relationships with my aunt and my mom and build relationships with me, my siblings, and my cousins that she never used. She continued to yell over the phone, so I just hung up the phone and blocked the number. I am slightly worried that she's going to try try to crash my wedding, as she's made scenes before, like at my cousin's graduation. However, we already hired security because my fiance has a cousin that likes to cause trouble. My mom and I both think that her sudden desire to be involved in our lives has been encouraged by her judgy church friends as a way to keep up appearances and not an actual desire to be part of our family. However, Susan has reached out to her younger siblings, my mom's adoptive siblings, who have been trying to pressure my mom and me into inviting her and calling me an a-hole. My mom's adopted brother, 60 male, keeps insisting that we need to do this just to keep the peace because he doesn't want to have to choose between his sisters, using a tone to imply that he would choose Susan. My fiance's mother has been trying to convince him since she found out. My mom and fiance have made it clear that the decision is up to me whether other people like it or not. Everyone I talk to, other than my parents, siblings, aunt, her kids, and my fiance, say that I'm being a stubborn, petty a-hole for not inviting her. Even my best friend thinks that I should invite her because she's reaching out, trying to be involved, and asked to be included. If I do cave and invite her to keep the peace, she definitely will not be part of the wedding party. So should I just invite her anyway? I'm just wondering, am I the a-hole for not inviting her or continuing to not invite her? And there is an update, but
Don't
what do we
invite
think?
her.
Yeah, you're not the a-hole, you just don't want her there.
You don't know who she is.
Honestly, you really don't.
She's a stranger.
Because like if the friend is going off of the idea of like, well, if you're complaining and if you don't like that she hasn't made an effort before, but now she is, then maybe you should like be open to that. It's like, well, I think it's too little too late.
I don't want her to make an effort anymore.
Yeah, not in this, because that's a big step. Jumping to like, okay, yeah, be at my wedding.
Yeah,
Like-
like we could have started with small efforts instead of
Right.
like apparently in my bridal party.
Yeah, it's like, do you even know like what my job is? We're gonna have to do small talk at my own
Do
wedding.
you even know what my middle name is?
Honestly, like, do
She's
you know
like
how
at
old
the
I am?
grandma's at the wedding and is like, so are you in school?
Literally.
Do you like your
Like,
classes?
That's what's gonna happen. But we do have an update. I just wanted to give a small update and thank everyone for their opinions. I really didn't want to invite her unless I got overwhelming responses telling me to. Anyway, I had a chat with my aunt Margot, my mom's bio sister, and my mom today after Mother's Day brunch. I wanted to tell them both that I decided not to let Susan come to my wedding, and they were both relieved. I asked if it was possible that Susan had reached out before or if I was missing information somewhere. That's when I got the full story. Uh-oh. So, firstly, I'd like to apologize. My mom was not to when Susan took off the first time. I didn't realize that she did it more than once. I really only knew the basics of what happened, not the whole story. So apparently, the first time Susan took off, my mom was only 4 months old. My grandma told her that she needed to step up as a parent because she already had 2 7-year-olds, my Uncle Bobby and Aunt Carol, and a 5-year-old, my Uncle Stuart. Susan took off only hours after the fight. My grandparents were in their late 40s and already had their gave up trying babies, and we didn't think it would happen after we had so much trouble last time, baby. They had considered giving my mom up for adoption, but needed Susan to sign paperwork, and my aunt and uncles were already attached to her. That's when my grandma found out that when she and my grandpa were working, Susan was leaving an infant with 3 children under the age of 8. Oh, wow.
Oh
So she's
my goodness.
totally
Susan should be
neglecting
in
all of them.
jail.
Yeah. Anyways, no one heard from Susan until just after my mom's 2nd birthday with my 10-week-old Aunt Margot. Okay. She then said that she started talking about my grandparents raising Margot too because they were already raising one of her kids, so what's another? My grandpa told her that if she left Margot, they would call the police and give her away. At some point, my grandparents had the parental rights of my mom signed over to them, and they became her legal parents. Susan tried multiple times to leave Margot just for a couple hours, but my grandparents always found a way to make sure everyone would be unavailable. So one morning, my grandma opened her front door and found baby Margot on the step. It took the police almost 6 days to find Susan and Jerry, my mom and Margot's biofather. They were basically given a warning and Margot was returned to their care. They took off again, this time with Margot. This was the time that I knew about. That's it. No one heard from Susan or Jerry for years. During this time, it was really bad for my aunt. Susan and Jerry were physically and verbally harmful towards my aunt and would leave for days at a time, leaving her younger brother, JJ, from the time she was 8. When she was 10, a neighbor took Margot and JJ in, and it took Susan and Jerry almost 2 months to notice that they were gone. Oh my gosh.
That's so concerning.
That has gotta mess with these kids'
Yeah,
heads.
absolutely.
Oh my gosh. When they did, Jerry got into a huge fight with the neighbor in front of Margot. She remembers Jerry telling the old woman that she could keep this witch of a daughter, but he wouldn't let her kidnap his boy. Oh my gosh.
It's
These are
terrible.
10 and 8-year-olds.
That's terrible. And the neighbors have kind of had to like take over.
Yeah,
Is
they've
that
been
what
taking
hap-
care
yeah.
of these kids.
Yeah.
JJ went back, but Margot lived with the woman for almost 4 more years.
Wow.
Just before Margot turned 14, the neighbor passed away.
Oh.
And Margot had to go back to Susan and Jerry. Oh my gosh.
No.
Margot.
As the grandparents, I mean, I guess like they can't really, take custody because the
Yeah.
mom's still in the picture, but
She'd have
like,
to sign off. And they might not have
Ugh.
even known about all that too.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. She lived with them for a couple of months in a city about 2 hours from here. This is when they came back into my mom's life. So that Christmas, when my mom was 15, almost 16, and Margot was 14 in 1 month, super important,
You need that 1 month.
they showed up at my grandparents' house like they never left. She brought Christmas presents for JJ, Carol, Bobby, Stuart, and both of my grandparents. They said that Margot was being punished and didn't deserve anything. And they said that they didn't know my mom was still there in front of everyone. Oh my
You don't know
gosh.
anything about your kids, and you guys are terrible people.
Yeah.
Like, truly, going back to the present day of OP's question, is it okay
Yeah.
to not invite this woman? Yeah.
100%
This woman
okay.
is terrible. She's
Yes.
incredibly neglectful of her kids.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Oh, I would not. I mean, if I were your mom, wait, now I'm confused.
So OP is referring to the grandparents.
Oh, right. Yeah. Sorry. Yes. Because your mom, so Sharon is technically
Your
Opie's grandma,
grandparent.
but her great grandparents
Yeah.
watched over. Yeah.
So Susan is kind of just like in there.
Yes. If I were your mom, I wouldn't want to be at this wedding where
No.
this lady was.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be a very considerate thing to do for everyone else in your family too.
Yeah,
'Cause,
who've
like,
been deeply traumatized by this lady.
Yes. There was another fight between my grandparents and Susan and Jerry. Apparently, my grandpa and Jerry got in a physical fight. Margot remembers this. My mom does not. During the next 4 years, Margot never told my grandparents about because she was worried that they wouldn't care because they already threw her away once. Oh my goodness.
Dude, as the grandparents, I can't imagine like giving away that other child.
Yeah.
Because they did it. I know it's a really difficult decision
Yeah.
to be like, we just don't have the means to take care of this other kid.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah, but I think that isn't even necessarily the situation. The next line is, that's what they told her happened when she dumped her on her doorstep and tried to get her away from them. So it's really not what, they really were just like, hey, her parents literally just abandoned her. Let's find the parents.
Yeah.
And then they took her back. But oh my goodness. So for 4 more years, my mom and Margot went to the same high school and got really close since they were only a grade apart. After she turned 18, Margot ran away from home. My grandpa was able to find her after 6 months. That's when my grandparents learned about what Margot had been through. Yeah, because they probably didn't know about
they probably
everything with the
didn't-
neighbor. Yeah.
but I mean, like, as them, like, to find out later that you
I would
didn't
be
take this kid
crushed.
in. Yeah.
The guilt. I'd feel so bad.
Ugh.
They decided to get custody of JJ, but they couldn't prove any abuse of JJ, and they couldn't prove any abuse of Margot. Margot said that she regretted not telling them sooner. Jerry passed away 29 years ago, so while my mom and Margot still hate him, he's not around to do anything now. Susan, on the other hand, has apparently been the greatest sister and aunt to Bobby, Carol, and Stuart's kids, so they've never seen the stuff that she did. They think that my mom and aunt are exaggerating events because that version of Susan doesn't match with the version they know now.
Ugh.
We called my uncle Bobby too. I made it clear to him that Susan will not be coming, so if he disagrees, he doesn't need to be there. there. I also told him that if he chooses to show up and Susan is with him, then security will make them both leave. And that goes for anyone who tries to get Susan there. My fiance and I had dinner with his mom tonight, and when she asked if I finally invited my grandma, I started with, my grandma passed away 13 years ago, so I don't think she needs a formal invitation. She got very snippy, and my fiance told her to stop. She kept making passive-aggressive comments through the whole meal. Eventually, my fiance snapped and yelled at her. He started yelling what Margot told us earlier in the day. We stormed out of his sister's house very quickly. His mom called to apologize about an hour ago. Apparently, she had been told the story that Susan has been using about how my grandparents stole her daughters and brainwashed them against her. I feel like I'm going to feel less pressure on this now that my future mother-in-law has dropped it. Either way, Susan will not be invited. And there is an update again, but
So the mother-in-law was probably like, oh, like, Susan's your grandmother. You gotta invite her.
yeah.
Not knowing any of this context.
Yeah, 'cause-
sticking her nose into business that doesn't
Right.
concern her.
And especially if what she was hearing was so,
Yeah.
terrible if it were true, then she
Yes.
is probably, acting out of that anger as well, which is what OP is doing, but OP knows the actual situation.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But update 2. So my wedding was yesterday, and I thought I would share the craziness for anyone still interested. I decided to not invite Susan. I also told my Uncle Bobby, Uncle Stuart, and Aunt Carol that they didn't need to come if they were mad that Susan wasn't.
Yeah. Stay home.
Yeah, they all angrily agreed. Whatever.
They're like, fine.
Fine.
I'll come.
Yeah. So things started going sideways about 4 days ago. Oh my goodness.
No, can't they just go straight forward?
Please. I got a call from my sister Alex, 28 female, fake name. I have 3 younger sisters, and she's the oldest. Apparently, she's been in contact with Susan for the last 10 years and didn't tell anyone. She is now one of her flying monkeys. What? How did that happen?
No.
Anyways, after Alex asked me one last time to invite Susan to my wedding, Susan told everyone that if she didn't get an invitation, she would be so miserable.
I would love that. I would love for you to be very miserable.
You've made your kids miserable their entire childhood.
Yeah,
so
you can handle a little bit of misery.
I think you'll be fine. Now, before you think I'm a monster, this is not the first time people just cave and give her what she wants and she's fine. However, this time, when Alex told me this and demanded that I invite her, I just said no, hung up the phone, and called emergency services.
Good.
Which is something that nobody has ever done when she's pulled this. Apparently, paramedics arrived at her house, and for whatever reason, they deemed her a risk to herself. She was taken to the hospital and placed on a 72-hour hold, and she wasn't able to be released until this morning. Okay, see? Because I think that's a great move.
I agree.
Because-
It's like you're gonna be miserable. Let's get you some help.
Yeah, like if you're really saying this, and I'm assuming that if this is what was called, maybe like when she was saying she was miserable, she was saying that she might harm herself.
Yeah.
If she wasn't invited, I think this is a great move, because if she's being serious, then she needs
Then she needs help.
She needs the help, and if she's not, she's calling her out on her bluff. So
Yeah.
that meant that she wouldn't be able to cause problems at my wedding, but it also meant that all those family members came back out and have been pestering me to cancel my wedding and not postpone it. My Uncle Bobby went so far as to ask if I was happy that I got Susan locked up and how it's all my fault instead, because I should have just invited her rather than calling the cops on her. And how if I wasn't mature enough to be the bigger person and invite her, I'm not mature enough to be getting married. I told him that if she's really willing to off herself, what she needs is professional help and not a wedding invitation.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys.
It's not gonna help her mental health
Right.
to go to a wedding
Yeah.
where a lot of people don't like her.
Yeah, like OP has such plausible deniability here of just like, well, I was just worried about her.
I was just so worried about her, and
I
it
can't
seemed like
believe-
nobody else in the family was worried about
Yeah,
her.
you guys weren't. So actually, you guys are in the wrong for not taking this
Yeah.
more seriously. She needed this help. It got to the point that I had to block a lot of numbers because people were blowing up my phone and leaving long, ridiculous voicemails. A few were even calling mine and my husband's offices to pester us about Susan. Whatever. So, come to yesterday, I had already told Alex that if she was mad about Susan to just not bother coming, but she just kept insisting that she was fine. So my other bridesmaids and I started getting ready, and Alex isn't there. I assume that she's late because she's never on time for anything. I decided to have a black and white themed wedding, so guests were told in advance that they were expected to wear black, white, gray, or something very close. Navy blue, cream, light blue, no bright, vibrant colors. It was written on the invitation that guests not in the theme would be asked to change or leave. My husband and I were wearing dark, bright red. Bridesmaids and groomsmen were in white. That's a fun style.
Yeah.
So during the entire planning process, and no one said anything about the theme except my mother-in-law, and she just said that it was a new and interesting choice. But she agreed to follow the dress code and wore a nice light gray dress. Alex never said anything. Anyway, we were almost ready to go, and Alex still wasn't there, so I just assumed that she decided not to come. I was wrong.
No.
She showed up 20 minutes before the wedding wearing her bridesmaid's dress, now dyed bright red. My other two sisters just became unhinged. They started screaming at her, and suddenly it was a massive fight. My one friend, who was my maid of honor, ran for a security guard.
Dang.
And I hope you run to listen to full episodes with more stories like this one on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, or whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search OK Story Time.
Yeah,
And
maybe don't start massive fights at,
20 minutes before
the
the wedding.
bride's wedding.
Yeah. I think, it's probably best to just get the security guard that you hired for this exact reason
Mm-hmm.
and deal with it later.
Literally.
We don't need to
This was
escalate.
a terrible way to handle it.
Yeah. Alex started screaming that my theme was the R word.
Yikes.
Her words, not mine, and how I'm a moron and how I'm a witch because I asked my friend to be maid of honor because everyone knows it's supposed to be the bride's sister.
Well, we know why you aren't maid of honor.
Yeah, what? We agreed years ago that we would be each other's bridesmaid, but we would have different maid of honors, so we weren't picking a favorite sister. Then she launched into how I'm a bad person for not inviting Susan. Security escorted her out of the venue. After that, the day went pretty well. I partied the night away with people who actually cared about me and my husband. I know this is probably not just going to blow over and then I'll hear about it for years to come, but I'm done caring. My boss already knows about the situation and says that I'm too valuable to lose, and my husband's job doesn't have a lot of customer interaction, so I don't think we need to worry about the pesterment from the flying monkeys costing either of us our jobs. And that is the end of that story, but
Ooh-wee.
my goodness, dude.
Ooh-wee.
That
Yikes.
was a crazy one.
Yeah, they really, your family really made trouble.
Yeah.
Capital T.
Trouble. But I'm glad you had security. I'm glad the wedding ended up all
being
good.
fun. You hung out with people who
Yeah.
you actually like.
Some people just suck.
Some people suck, and some people suck so much that they don't deserve to go to your wedding.
Exactly. And that's what's happening.
And that's
So,
the moral of the story.
My mother stole my child's baby shower gifts, so I'm uninviting her.
Could I have those back, please? Those are for my baby.
And this comes directly from our community. Last year, in October 2024, I needed new insurance on my vehicle, but unfortunately, due to my license being suspended, I had to get an SR22 plan. I'm 26 female and hate asking my mom for things, but if I went on her plan, it was significantly cheaper than getting my own. I asked my mother to get me on her plan for only a year, and she agreed. By the way, this comes from Lilac Rabbit 123. And I'm Carly.
I'm Keon.
To get me onto her policy, we had to pay for both policies 6 months up front. So I paid close to $1,200 for my insurance and her insurance for 6 months. After paying that, my mother looked at me and said, "Well, I guess now I'm going to have to start making you monthly payments." I said, "Yeah, I guess," and laughed. Fast forward to May 2025, when the 6 months was up, I asked her if she had any money saved since she wasn't making the monthly payments she'd promised. I wanted to know if she was planning on paying 6 months upfront like I did, or making monthly payments. She said she hasn't saved any money and actually needed $200 for a plumbing issue. I reluctantly gave her the money, but told her I needed it back in 2 weeks because I had a $150 student loan payment and didn't want to use my savings. She said no problem, and that she would pay me back in 2 weeks and felt bad because I was pregnant. She also mentioned that since I paid 6 months in advance, it made the policy cheaper, about $15 less on mine and $20 less on hers. So she'd probably have no problem paying less than $200 a month for both of us. I thought this was fair since I technically paid up front for both of us and she wouldn't have to worry about the bill. I was also in the process of moving and had to spend $1,900 in rent just to move, plus planning to add another $600 for financial security. My mother has paid May, June, and July. That's a little under $600 total for both of us. By the way, I forgot to mention, I'm pregnant, 8 months now. I found out in January, and when my mother asked for the plumbing money in May, I was 4.5 months pregnant. That's another reason I was fine with her paying the next 6 months of insurance, because I was already stressed with moving, finding a new job, and being pregnant. Yesterday, I went into town 2 hours away for an ultrasound appointment for my growth scan. I'm 34 weeks pregnant, and the appointment went great. After that, I went back to my mother's house to drop my sister off because she accompanied me to the appointment. My sister and twin brother live at my mother's house. My sister helps out financially with food and house things, but my brother doesn't do anything or pay rent. He doesn't even have a job. My sister was getting ready for her work shift, and I was finishing a sandwich I bought earlier, sitting on the couch. My mother wasn't home, but arrived shortly after, came in and sat at the kitchen table after fixing herself something to eat. I was getting mentally ready for my almost 2-hour ride home. My mother has always had a way of going about situations, especially when it comes to money or finances. I love my mom very much, but she's never been financially responsible, and whenever she can, she tries to wiggle her way out of things or get some kind of discount, which I've always found embarrassing. That's why I'm quick to help her financially. I feel bad. As I sat on the couch, she wanted to speak to me about something. I should have realized it was about the car insurance because something was said last time I visited. She's also been telling my sister, who's been telling me, that she doesn't have to pay for the policy anymore because she's technically already paid me back by paying her portion within 3 months. So now I'm on my own for the remaining months. My mom looked at me and asked if I paid the car insurance. I quickly said no. Why would I have to pay when you're paying it until September? She said it's actually up in October, but it says it came out of an account I don't recognize. I let her know it didn't come out of my account and that she should make sure it's actually paid and not on a declined card. She rolled her eyes and said it didn't get paid then, and things were awkwardly silent for about 5 minutes. I was waiting for her to say something, but I knew she wasn't going to, so I finally said, "Why are you going to ask me that? Am I going to have to pay it this month or something?" My mother hesitated and said, "Yes. I mean, I could possibly pay $100 of it, but I would need you to pay the rest." I said, "Why should I have to pay for the next 3 months when I paid for yours for 6 months and you didn't have to worry about that bill?" Without hesitation, my mother started screaming at me at the top of her lungs that she has already technically paid me back since she's made $600 worth of payments. And that was the portion of her insurance I paid for. And so now I should be covering my own insurance moving forward. I told her multiple times I didn't ask for any of the money she owed me for those 6 months. And she didn't have to stress about bills for 6 months. So why is she doing this to me while I'm 8 months pregnant, not working, and living 2 hours away preparing for a baby? I tried to de-escalate the situation, but all my mother said was that I don't know how it works when I'm paying someone back, and I technically got paid back because she made 3 payments, which equals $600 for her portion of the insurance, then claimed she never asked me to pay for it. We started arguing about what was right, if I should pay or she should pay for the remaining 3 months. It got to the point where she started saying I was ungrateful and never realized all the things she's done for me. Kept calling me entitled and saying I don't know how to be a grown-up. So that was the conversation? A red-faced battle between my heavily pregnant self and my mom about what's right and fair when she has no understanding of fairness? I think my mom has self-absorbed tendencies. She's always shown signs of growing up, but I never wanted to believe my own mother would be like that towards me, especially when I'm only 5 weeks from giving birth and already dealing with a lot. I don't have a problem paying it if I have to just to keep it, but it's not fair. I do have a savings account I've been putting money into, but it's the principle. I tried to explain that she didn't have to worry about a bill for 6 months, and if she wasn't going to be able to pay it or just wanted to pay the $600 she owed me, she should have discussed that back in May when the insurance came due again. My mother has always done things to hurt me financially, and I've never let it break our relationship because I love her and want her to be okay. I think because she knows I have some money saved, that my partner and I were saving for a house before we got pregnant and sometimes dip into for bills. She thinks I'm better off than her and can afford it. Her main argument is that she doesn't want to pay anymore because she's made 3 payments equaling $600, which was her portion of the insurance I paid, and that she lives on a fixed income and can't afford the monthly payment. I understand that, but I know she can. She's just bad with money. She's always had financial hardships, and I've always helped when able. Whether $20 for gas, $50 for house things, or the $200 for plumbing that she never paid back. When I brought these things up during the argument, she just rolled her eyes and said she didn't know what I was talking about.
All right. Wow. Your
Mhm.
mom, she definitely sucks. But this is where you're like, okay, you really want that money? I did this. You called her out and you're like, hey, like, what's going on? And then she got all like huffy and puffy about it. She did something. She's definitely in a tight spot, and you've been
Yeah.
helping her for so long. And you're also, how many weeks? Like 5 weeks away? This is insane. I would be like, the last thing I want to do is rile up my pregnant daughter
About
who is
money.
about to give birth. It's one of those things, and we have these stories a lot, where if it comes to like money, and especially if you do like a monthly payment, it's just like a verbal agreement. You need a doc or like something. I have the receipts. Or something. As long as you keep the receipts, that should be like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? In this case, we don't have any receipts. If you can pay it, pay it.
The argument got to the point that I was so hurt I couldn't believe she could do this to me. Her own daughter. I told her I didn't want her at my baby shower and for her not to attend. Here's the problem. All my baby shower registry gifts have gone to her house because that's the address on my Amazon account.
Oh, no. No.
I went into her room to grab them and she followed me, trying to say I couldn't take them when they're my baby shower gifts for my baby. My mother claimed it's her friends from New York and her family sending things, so she has a right to decide if I receive them or not. But it's my grandmother, my aunt, and my cousin sending my baby these gifts. I also have multiple cards and gift cards coming in the mail to her house that I know I'll most likely not receive, unless my sister who lives with her gets them first. I hate thinking this way about my mother, but a year ago on my birthday, when me and my mom weren't speaking, my grandmother sent me a card with $50 and my mother took it. When I asked for it, she said it was gone. She spent it. And I didn't deserve that money, so I wouldn't put it past her to deliberately get rid of them, throw them away, or if there are gift cards or cash, use them herself. My mother has always been vengeful and spiteful when her feelings are hurt, even though she doesn't care about destroying anybody else's feelings and then wonders why me and my sister don't have a good relationship with her. Am I the a-hole for uninviting my mother to my baby shower that's only a week away due to her bringing up our car insurance policy that she's technically supposed to be paying? Am I the a-hole for not wanting her there? I mean, you're definitely not the a-hole for doing
no,
that.
no. But it's just dealing with this.
It sounds like a great time to go low, to no contact with woman though.
I feel like it's the height of like the tension between the insurance paying or the payments. You're like, hey, because you definitely still love your mom. She's just being over the top, petty, and dramatic. Like, hey, I'm about to have a baby, and I feel like when you do have the grandchild or her grandchild and you have your baby, I feel like she might take a couple steps back and be like, okay, maybe I was being unreasonable. I want to see the baby. My aunt made my mother's funeral into a drama, and I won't let it slide.
R.I.P.
My 24 mom passed away at the end of last month. We both moved home and spent 4 months visiting our mom every day, while simultaneously trying to sort out her affairs, which we are still in the process of doing. We have given up our respective lives in different countries, something we were both able and willing to do for her, and muddled through the best we can ever since. By the way, this comes from user Pale Violet, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Keon.
I'm Dakota.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. Pretty please. OP says, there was quite a gap between Mom's passing and her funeral, purely because my brother and I wanted to hold it on a Friday so that people coming from further away would be able to stay the weekend if they so wished. There has been so much to sort out for the funeral. We're expecting 100+ people to turn up. So we have been busy writing speeches, organizing the order of service, the wake, etc., to make sure everything runs as smoothly as possible on the day, all the while still being inundated with the administrations, applying for probate, contacting banks, dealing with debt collectors, etc. Our Aunt Sarah, 50s female, which is Mom's sister, has flown over from the other side of the world for the funeral, and is spending around 10 days over here. She arrived on Monday, but my brother and I were spending time in the city I lived in before I moved home. We were seeing friends and extended family, and I had to speak to my PhD supervisors. So she went to stay with our other aunt, her sister, Emma. We asked them both to speak at the funeral. Our mom was a very well-loved person, so we would have no trouble finding people to speak at the funeral. But we wanted her sisters to have a chance to commemorate her in their own way. Our funeral minister asked us to send over all the speeches when we had them, and to check that there were no repetition, that no one was speaking for a huge amount of time, things like that. I helped my brother edit his speech. I have gone over speeches of our family friends, and I wrote the official eulogy to include memories from other people. I've been very involved with what everyone is saying because I want to, but also because I want everything to run perfectly on this day. I've written a poem for the funeral and sent it to both my aunts a few weeks ago because I wanted them to feel included with what I had written and to ask their opinion about it. Aunt Sarah sent us her speech last night, and it is lovely. It's roughly 1,600 words, about double the length of my brother's, which is the closing piece. And one of the memories she has included is already referred to in the eulogy. I messaged her and said, "Thank you for your eulogy. It is really lovely, and I think will be a really nice way to begin the service. If it's all right with you, we're going to take out the anecdote as it's mentioned in the eulogy in other friends' memories." Okay, that makes sense. And the occasional line here and there, just to slightly shorten the piece, but nothing major. And the funeral minister won't be editing it, by the way. It's us two checking over everything for repetition, etc. We don't want to double up here. I will show you tomorrow the changes we made, but like I say, we don't plan on taking much out. It is a lovely piece. XX. Her reply. The eulogy was supposed to be new to all its audience on Friday. I feel really hurt that you needed to read it before Friday, and that you had to edit it. The paragraph that follows my anecdote makes no sense without it. Every time I have practiced the speech at home in my head or in front of my family, I have sobbed. But practice stoicism. Now I cry as I don't have the means to further edit this. I'm sorry I don't come up to your expectations in my writing as an aunt or mom's sister. If I had known I was going to get graded, I would never have offered to stand up and speak. You only have 50 minutes, so probably better I don't speak at all. You've both seen it, and I wrote it for you. Lovely piece? It doesn't sound like it.
My God.
And wow. Wow.
Just come on.
I think we're dealing with entitled people in this episode, and boy, oh boy.
Well, you know, this person's probably also like grieving, like it's their sister's funeral, but it's like you just got to understand, like this isn't being taken out because we think you're a bad writer. We're just trying to, I don't know.
Other people wrote the same thing that you wrote.
Yeah.
They literally said your piece is amazing. We didn't even edit major things. It's just a couple of tweaks here and there, just so things run smoothly. What? Why are you taking this so to heart? I mean, I get it. She wrote a very moving piece for her sister that passed away, for the aunt, speaking from the perspective of the aunt. She wrote something that she wanted to say. I don't know. If you wrote something about your mom or me or anyone that's close to you and like someone said, so we took like a couple things out, how would you react?
I mean, first I'd be like, all right, but who's using that anecdote? Like, should we switch the order? Like, why does it have to come out of my... If it's my sister,
yeah,
I'd be asking questions. But if it's like, oh, her kids are using that anecdote, like, okay, like, I don't know. I would have questions, but I also understand why she's upset. But it's like, it's very much not like a your writing wasn't good enough thing. It's like like you said, there's only X amount of time. We just want to make sure that, we're not wasting it, or that it's not just repeated over and over again. It is kind of like telling the way that she responded, where it's like, instead of just being like, hey, I hear you, but I really want to read it how I wrote it. So is there any way that I could still just do that, because that anecdote means a lot to me and I want it to be in the eulogy?
Have we done anything wrong here? It's a lovely idea that everyone can just waltz up to the podium with a surprise speech and speak for 15 minutes each. But unfortunately, that isn't how funerals work. We have time limits. Our funeral minister specifically said nothing should be really over 5 minutes long, and I'm trying my best to make everything run as smoothly as possible. In no way was I going to try to improve the speech. We were supposed to go and collect Sarah from Emma's house today, but Emma phoned to say that Sarah would be going with her to collect our cousins from down south. I asked if that was anything to do with the message she sent me last night, and Emma said, "Well, you didn't handle it very well. Mom was our sister, and we don't feel like we should have to have what we want to say edited." She continued to say that maybe they shouldn't speak at all, considering they were clearly stepping on our toes. My brother took over the phone call because he could see me getting more frustrated and anxious, and he told Aunt Emma very calmly that we felt hurt by the message Sarah had sent us, that we had spent so long trying to organize his funeral. And the last thing we need is a grown woman throwing her toys out the pram because we wanted to take out a single paragraph of an incredibly long speech. Emma said that Sarah felt slighted that we weren't there when she arrived in the country, that she felt slighted because we have said that she can't stay with us the night of the funeral. We have 12 plus friends coming to stay with us because they've been the ones comforting us the most. And that she felt slighted we had read and edited her speech. Do you know what I feel slighted by? I feel slighted by the fact that it took a week for Sarah's grown children to get in touch after Mom passed away, only to send the most robotic, impersonal message we have ever received from anyone. I feel slighted that Sarah couldn't manage to message my brother back when he told her how seriously ill Mom had become. I feel slighted by the fact she doesn't realize this isn't about her. This is about the very painful, heartbreaking passing of our only parent, and the last thing in the world we need is an emotional breakdown about a single paragraph from a grown woman. She said the speech was for us. It certainly does not feel like it. My brother tried to speak to her on the phone when he spoke to Emma, but she wouldn't. Sarah was supposed to come and stay with us today until next Thursday when she leaves. As far as I'm concerned, I don't particularly want her in my house right now. And by the looks of things, she doesn't want to be here either. So, what do we do? My brother, who has been incredibly level-headed about everything considering, has said we should message her this evening and say she can do her whole speech if she wants. And we will edit the eulogy so that no memories are repeated. That we should apologize for not being here when she arrived. I'm sure she won't understand that, shockingly. We wanted a short break away from our passed-away mother's house before the funeral. A trip that was planned before Sarah even booked the tickets over here. And that we're sorry she can't stay on the night of the funeral, but that it's our friends we want with us, because they have been the ones who comforted us the most throughout this entire process. And maybe next time she should have some consideration for the fact we are two young people dealing with the passing of our mother in the middle of organizing a never-ending list of tasks to complete. We have had no time to grieve yet. She quite literally has no idea what we're going through at the moment. And that maybe she should have dealt with this in a more adult fashion instead of sending angry messages over Facebook. And we have an update. What do you think?
I do think you should just let her do the speech. I also don't think it's that big of a deal if memories get repeated.
I agree.
It's kind of a freestyle. You don't know what's going to happen. I'm sure someone's going to do their speech and then go off and say other things that aren't in the speech, and that's okay. It's you're going to have to go with the flow to some extent. You can't really control all the variables here and make them all perfect.
I feel like you should also not come from a place of, being aggressive or attacking your aunt, but also telling her, like, hey, we've been trying to figure this all out, and we're having a hard time, and we're trying to do the best we can, and you got to give us some slack. You lost a sister, we lost our mom. Can you fill that void right now of just trying to be loving and supporting? We're just trying to do the best we can here with what we have. We never intended to make you feel slighted. We wanted, we're a family, and Mom would never want this for all of us. We're sorry. Let's just try and figure this out. We'll leave your speech in there, and hopefully she apologizes too. If she doesn't apologize and she's very pompous, bite your tongue after the eulogy. Do what you want to do with that. But I feel like just bite your tongue right now. Do the best you can with what you got.
Yeah. You're gonna have to take the initiative, because if anyone's gonna come at you like this, knowing that you've just lost your mom. You know, it's crazy. They're not reasonable. That's not a reasonable thing to do. Not at all.
Again, everyone's emotions are heightened to a 10 right now, so it makes sense. But we have an update. First of all, a clarification. I had lots of people commenting to say that I was wrong to cut short my aunt's speech, that there shouldn't be time restrictions on expressing grief. We have a 45-minute slot with 4 speeches, 2 poems, committal, songs reflective pieces, a eulogy. There is another funeral after us. If we go overtime, then we will be cut short. So please try and understand why a 15-minute speech is problematic. So there we go. That's the clarification. On saying that, we could have handled things better. Our aunt never asked us about time limitations, etc. Probably because she now lives in a country where funerals are much more relaxed affairs. She knew how long our slot was, so we figured she would work it out, but we should have clarified. I should not have edited her speech. At the time, I genuinely saw it as a compromise, to try and shorten it slightly while still leaving her with 95% of her writing. But I realize now that was the wrong way to go about it. What I should have done was to ask if she feels confident she can read the unedited speech in a set time, and emphasize that if not, she may be hurried along. It would be unfair for the final speech, my brother's, to be cut short because of bad timings, especially considering that we are the ones who have spent hours organizing everything. And by the way, we have plenty of hours that you can listen to with full episodes with stories just like this one. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, your favorite podcast app, and search up OK Storytime. How many hours do we think we have?
A lot. Probably over 1750? 1700?
1738?
1738.
I say what's up. Hello. You can listen to more episodes. But there's a little bit left. I feel like, yeah, that should have been clarified right at the start. Hey, like, please write your speeches. You know, you can write a speech, but that was a huge thing to leave out of. You can write a speech, but keep in mind, we only have this much time.
Right.
So
yeah,
a little tidbit that should have been included now has done this huge explosion with your family.
Yeah, hopefully everyone involved here can just like let this go and move on from it as time goes by, you know.
Yeah,
Not let
you
it
got to
just
apologize and just let her know straight up, straight out. But let's go ahead and finish up this story. I'll admit, I have some separate frustrations regarding my aunt, and these absolutely spilled over when this issue arose. I think it's fair to say that she also has frustrations directed at us that she also let spill over. I guess these will be sorted out in time. It's not really the time or place right now. My brother spoke to her on the phone last night and apologized on behalf of both of us. And so did she. Good. She'll be reading the unedited speech with the knowledge that it cannot exceed a certain time limit. I have no idea if she plans on staying with us at all, but I hope we can put this behind us and move on to brighter things. Thanks all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope so too.
My mother is a narcissist, so I'm planning to cut her off for my pregnancy.
Ooh, snip, snip, little bip. What?
So I've been really struggling with this one. I, 39 female, am an only child, and growing up with my mother was very difficult. On one hand, she always made sure I was well dressed. We had a clean house, and she cooked meals every day. She made sure I was well presented when she sent me off to school. And by the way, this comes from Kitty and Puppy Mama on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So, on the other hand, she treated me like her little punching bag and never seemed to view me as a real person. All my childhood memories are of her screaming at me, slamming doors, throwing my nice toys in the trash when she was mad at me, telling me to shut up and go away, embarrassing me by screaming, and I mean screaming at me when I had friends over, or when she wasn't doing this, ignoring my existence entirely.
That doesn't sound very mom-like. That sounds terrible. I wish I could have been your mom. I'd be a better mom than that.
I never know what I'd do wrong, but I was always punished. It was common for me to come home from school, say, hi, Mom, and be met with a cold glare and then to be told, I know what I did. No further explanation. One example is that it was Christmas vacation. I was home for a week. My dad had also taken time off from work. My mom was decorating the house and she lost the container the tree angel came in. She immediately accused me and my dad of conspiring to hide it from her as a prank. When we both swore we didn't have it, she flew into a rage, slamming cabinets, vacuuming when we were trying to watch TV, making both of us afraid to cross her. Eventually, she found the container, which had fallen behind some other stuff in the closet. She did not apologize. She still insisted we must have done it. So this is just an example of the kind of stuff I grew up with. Then she'd go to church or picnics or whatever, smile at everyone, and tell them all how proud she is of me and how happy we all are. I hate the posturing. And as soon as I got home, this nice mom was gone, and she was back to stonewalling and snapping at me. It's not that my mom has never done anything nice or caring. Sometimes she has. But it always makes me very cautious because I've seen how she uses it later as something she can take away. And when I was in college, my dad passed away. She immediately, and I mean the same day, started going through the closet and throwing his clothes in the trash. I was screaming, crying, begging her to stop. She told me to shut up and go to my room. I was giving her a headache. She never helped with the funeral and left me as a young adult to do it myself. After the funeral, we all went out with extended family to get a little lunch. She criticized what I ate and told me I was unhealthy and would get fat. So again, just an example of what I've dealt with all my life. There's a lot more, but we'd be here all day.
So just quickly, if anyone finds themselves in a situation like this, get away from this person, especially if you're still like under the age of 18. Like, find a support, find a family member, find someone you can confide in, because this intense negative behavior is not acceptable. It's not okay. And you don't have to put up with it just because you fell into this situation.
And this is not normal behavior. I think something that's really hard about being a child raised in this kind of environment is it's hard to know what's normal. It's hard to know that, being yelled at all the time is not what everyone experiences, because you only ever experience like what you know at home.
And that's why stories like this can be really powerful, because it allows people to go, wait a minute, that sounds like what I go through, but they're saying that this is not it's very important.
But now we're going to go on to the dad. So my dad was super peaceful, a kind person who loved my mom, even though I truly believe she doesn't have the capability to love anyone but herself. I've seen her treat everyone I care about monstrously. She didn't even show up when her own parents were in hospice dying. And her reason is they know why. I don't know why. Her siblings don't know why. And I'm 100% sure they passed away not knowing why. She has no remorse, no regrets about this. And even though my dad did everything to make her happy, he never yelled back, and he tried to give her what she wanted, all she has to say about him now is what an a-hole he was. She makes up stories about him being a boozaholic, which he wasn't. He didn't even drink socially. And abusive, which again, I promise he never was, with a gambling problem. He didn't gamble either. Because my dad has been gone for so many years, she makes new friends at church or in social circles and makes up whatever lies she wants about how close we are. We aren't, and how she was a single, widowed mom struggling to put me through college. She never gave a dime. I had to pay my loans, books, courses, etc. 100% by myself. And also how bad her marriage was. She doesn't tell these lies in front of me because she'd be embarrassed if I called her out, but they get back to me through the grapevine, and she denies it when I confront her. The hard truth is that she never just seemed to care about anyone, much less me. She'll take me to lunch and a movie, buy me a cute gift now, and then say she loves me. And I really cling to these moments and try to believe them, but our whole relationship depends on me just pretending that my entire life with her never happened, and accepting that she'll never take accountability. I want to stop right here really quick. And there's more to the story, about halfway through, but I want to ask the question, in this scenario where you have a mom that was so terrible, so abusive, and now we have this change that seems actually pretty good. Do we accept the change?
Well, I feel like the change is all built on the pretext that you have to never bring up the past and the reality that you lived in. You can't press her on anything because as soon as you do, it's going to revert right back to this. So if you do maintain this sort of above board, I guess, I don't know if that's the right phrase, but just sort of like it's managing the appearance of the relationship. You're just on autopilot being like, I know I can't say this. I know I can't say that. I definitely can't press this. I don't think that she's changed up in a real way. Who knows why she's operating that way?
My read on this, is she realized the error of her ways without accepting the responsibility of her actions. That's my read. It's like, all right, frick, I realize I need to be better to my daughter. This is a person that I want in my life. So I'm going to actually start treating her well outside of just treating her well for appearances. Because now she's treating her well in this one-on-one relationship, no longer just treating her well in a social dynamic where she can win favor with friends. She is realizing that she needs to change and treat OP better, but she's not willing to accept the responsibility. And so she's kind of building this new relationship a little bit on a lie or unstable ground. But I do think that she might actually want to be changing for the better. I would love to know what you guys think. So if I try to bring up something she's done, she'll look me straight in the eye and said it never happened. That, or she'll say it was my fault. She did it. So I'm in my 3rd trimester of pregnancy right now with a daughter of my own. And my mom was initially so excited. She took me to my doctor visits and was helping me out with things around my house. Since my doctors told me not to handle the cat litter or do any heavy lifting, it's a high-risk pregnancy due to a few factors, but thankfully the baby and I have been pretty healthy so far. Well, about 3 weeks ago, I wasn't feeling the baby move. I got really worried. Called my mom to ask if she could take me to the ER so I could get checked. She got super exasperated, called me crazy, told me I was being ridiculous. And no, she wouldn't give me a ride because she was busy cleaning her kitchen.
Kitchen's more important, baby.
This mom's getting the number 14. The combo order number 14. You go through the sun, get blended up in the Oort cloud. Your little bits and bops get thrown into the black hole where they become spaghetti. And then you get eaten by a bunch of pigs who are actually taken care of by the ghost of James Gandolfini.
I was going to call another family member to come with me, but she'd made me feel so embarrassed that I wondered if I was really being silly, and I decided not to bother anyone. I drove myself to the ER, and I was so stressed that my blood pressure was going through the roof, and they had to take it several times because they thought it indicated another emergency. The team at the ER took me seriously, did an ultrasound, and showed me that everything was all right with the baby. And everything was okay. They advised me to go right to the hospital next time because they have better equipment and will admit me faster. Later, when I talked to my OB, she also told me that they do take our concerns seriously and it's always okay to get checked out. This all helped me to feel less crazy. When I got home, my mom texted to ask how it went. This honestly pissed me off because she embarrassed me when I asked for help, let me go through all that stress alone, and wanted to ask how it went after the fact. I told her that her behavior was extremely hurtful and that she's been treating me like this all my life. And I don't know why I keep hoping it will change. Anyway, that was 3 weeks ago, and she has been giving me the silent treatment ever since. She was previously coming over to help me with heavy lifting, the trash, and the cat litter. Again, not supposed to handle that when you're pregnant because cat feces can harm the baby. And usually picks up a couple little things for me at the store when she does her shopping, but hasn't done any of that either. I'm being punished for having feelings and being an entire human being. I've never felt like her treatment was normal. Growing up, she always told me I was a problem child and made her act this way. Meanwhile, my aunt, uncles, cousins, and dad all had a great relationship with me and never made me feel this way because it's not your fault. How could it be that my mother thinks I'm so horrendous, but nobody else in my life has ever expressed this to me? It doesn't add up.
Well, France in your pants will have the answer for that, but I will just blanket it as that's a mental illness. And you were conditioned to feel a certain way by, being brought up, being told, like, the way I'm acting right now is your fault. Of course, you're always going to say, what is it that I'm doing?
It doesn't add up. The other day, I was running errands and talking to my unborn baby in the car, as one does. Lol, that's cute. I just kept thinking how excited I am to meet her, how scared I am about making sure she arrives safely in the delivery room, and how there's no way I could ever hurt her the way my mom hurts me. Not just once, but hundreds of times over almost 40 years. I can't imagine throwing her toys in the trash or not speaking to her for weeks at a time. This is really, really not okay. If your child grows up feeling unloved by you, then can you really say you love them? To me, that seems like a failure. And you know, we love all our children that come into our lives every weekday at 3 p.m. PST right here on YouTube and Facebook, TikTok, and Twitch. Just tap our profile, come on in. There's a little bit more to this story, but yeah, I mean, it's not your fault, OP, but at least, you know, OP knows what to avoid when dealing with their child.
And I feel like that might be what caused OP to write all this in the first place, is because after having her child, she started to realize, like, okay, there's no way my mom was behaving appropriately. Based on how I feel with my kid, something was going on.
And I imagine, you know, this, like, I feel like there's a lot of exploration of this relationship and OP's self-worth in this post. And you kind of feel like as she's writing it towards the end, she's like recontextualizing that view of herself. She's like, how could I be the problem? It's almost like she's asking it in writing it. It's like, how can I be the problem when all my aunts and uncles had a great relationship with me? And she's literally discovering this in the moment, which again, like, if you don't journal, if you're not writing, you don't even have to like write and post online, but like writing really allows you to like look at the thoughts in your brain with a little bit more accuracy, a little bit more objectivity, and it can be really, really helpful.
There's different ways to check in with yourself, but if I don't like at least write like a little bit about what I'm thinking or what I'm feeling, like at least every other day. I try to do it every day, but if like sometimes it'll slip for like a week or two, and then I'll just realize I don't even know what I'm thinking. I don't even know what's going on, like, because I'm not writing it down.
It's like clearing a house. It's like organizing your room. But we got a little bit more to this story. So I'm thinking of going full no contact with my mom. She is my only parent, and it's because nobody wants to go through life without parents. I don't care how old you are, but honestly, I don't know what to do anymore. I go back and forth feeling guilty, but remembering that she has never once felt any guilt for how she treats me, and that she never apologizes no matter what she does. But somehow I always end up apologizing to keep the peace. I just feel like I'm losing my mind. You know, if this relationship is hurting you more than it's helping you, I don't know if it's a relationship that you need to keep close.
And I don't think it's a relationship you would want for your child either. Your mom has not earned a relationship with your kid.
I wanted privacy after I gave birth, but my mom refused to hear it.
La 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 la, I am not listening. La 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 la.
Listen up, mom. Also traumatic births. If you want to skip this one, go to the next one. Well, I, 35 female, and my husband, 35 male, and I are expecting our first baby in a couple of weeks. We've explained to both sides of our families that we just want to enjoy our first moments as parents, so no one will be visiting us on the day our baby is born. By the way, this comes from Visual Armadillo 537. If you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So the first few hours are crucial for bonding with skin-to-skin contact, and we want to soak up all the special moment between the three of us while recovering from the birthing experience. Some backstory. I have a very complicated relationship with both of my parents. However, my mother can be very self-absorbed, and throughout my life, she has used her childhood trauma to create trauma within her own children. She was physically harmful and often blamed it on our behavior. For example, she once bit me so hard that I was covered in bruises and then told me not to tell anyone because I had bitten her first. She said she was only teaching me a lesson that if I told someone, I would be quote unquote the naughty one, not her. I was in pre-K. So she is always willing to help her children, whether financially or by taking care of things we briefly mentioned we want to do ourselves. However, even when we refuse and ask her not to help or send money, she disregards our wishes. Later, she throws her quote unquote kindness in our faces, saying things like, after all I've done for you, I'm your only mother when you need something. I did this for you without you even asking, and now you treat me like this. I'm never helping you again. She boasts about how much she has done for us and often shares our personal news as if it were her own. If we get upset, she claims that we are selfish and we need to get over it. She constantly makes everything about her feelings while disregarding ours. In the past, she has used things we confided in her, whether medical or emotional, against us, both publicly and privately. She has even told me that she tried to unalive herself because of me and my actions. When I set boundaries and try to explain my perspective, twists my words and tells others a false narrative to make herself the victim. When I told her that we don't want visitors at the hospital, she made it about herself, and she said she hopes our children do the same to us one. She claimed that after everything she has done and sacrificed, I am stripping her of the right to be there for my child's birth. She called me selfish, spoiled, saying I am robbing her of the chance to meet her first grandchild. This left me shocked. She isn't a first-time grandmother. I have nieces and nephews, and I refuse to be gaslit into forgetting that. This happened almost 2 months ago, and I spent hours crying over it, and my husband fully supports the decision that we've made together. Now that the birth is only a couple of weeks away, this has been on my mind more and more. Processing the guilt, even though I know this is the right decision for me, I still feel guilty. My entire life, she has brainwashed me into validating her feelings while disregarding my own. As Charlotte would say, I'm a former people pleaser, but for some reason, it still hurts. I feel like I'm being horrible, even though I know logically I am not. My mother sees a therapist, but I believe that she manipulates what she shares. Their conversations seem to stay surface level so she can present herself in a good light. I, however, speak to my psychologist on a deeper level, even when it makes me look bad. Now, I sometimes argue with my mother when she continuously triggers me or puts me down. For example, she once spoke to me in a horrible way in my own home while I was heavily pregnant. My husband was home, but wasn't in the room when she started using vulgar language. I calmly told her, if you want to use that language directed toward me in my own house while I'm pregnant, you can leave. But if you stop, you can stay. She then stormed out and slammed the door and swore outside, yelling that I just told her to get the F out of my house and off my property. She caused a scene trying to get my husband on her side. We have cameras all over our house, so it was all recorded. My husband, who is my biggest supporter and my best friend, was shocked. He wasn't raised by a mother like mine, so sometimes her behavior leaves him flabbergasted. While she's still in my life, some people have asked why I still have a relationship with her. Coming from a specific ethnic background, family is an important part of our culture. To the outside world, things are painted differently. There's a lot of competitiveness and gossip, but I don't want to compete or talk about other people's lives. That's a generational thing that I refuse to participate in. I feel emotions very deeply and always consider how others might be struggling. I believe one interaction could help someone push through whatever they're going through. Because of this, even sharing my mother's behavior makes me feel guilty. However, I know what she has done is wrong. She isn't always like this. We have some good days, and the little girl in me who is healing sometimes just wants a hug from her. She also has severe health problems, and I don't want to have any regrets on my side. She helps look after my nieces and nephews and has never harmed them. However, she does disregard rules and boundaries my siblings have set in place, all under the guise of spoiling them. For example, she allows them to watch TV, gives them food they aren't supposed to have, or doesn't follow their schedules. If confronted, she says, they're my grandchildren. If I want to spoil them, I will.
They're my grandbabies, which to some extent, it's like, I remember being like, got my grandma's cookies. But like, you know, like it's still if you're your child, if you're the grandma,
yeah.
If your child comes to you and goes, hey, I don't want you to be giving so many sweets to my child.
Yeah.
You got to kind of be like, I mean, okay, I'll give less.
Yeah. I feel like there's like, you have this like wiggle room of reason to be like, let's get you guys an ice cream. You know, like, yay. Like,
well, yeah, it's
okay,
like,
every once in a while, but
grandparents, I think, want to be fun a lot of the time.
I know she won't physically harm them the way she did me. The physical abuse was directed only towards me and not my other siblings. Opie says, some final thoughts. Thank you, everyone who's given me advice so far. We're only halfway through the story, so you stay locked in there. It has helped me gain clarity, especially since I am working to break free from the conditioning I grew up with. I will post an update after the birth, once we've settled in with our little bundle of joy. And we have the update here. 2 weeks ago, we welcomed our perfect little boy into this world, and he has completely changed our lives. We're absolutely obsessed with him. His birth was nothing like I expected. I went into labor, but things took a turn when both mine and the baby's heart rates started dropping. Before I had time to process what was happening, I was being prepped for an emergency C-section. It was overwhelming, but thankfully, everything went well, and our little one arrived safe and sound. Since things moved so quickly, I told my husband to update both our parents just so they knew what was happening. It was a lot to deal with in the moment, so we wanted them to be aware if things took a turn. My husband mentioned that we didn't want anyone showing up or overwhelming us with messages, and thankfully, they actually respected that. My mom only messaged my husband, which was surprising, but honestly appreciated. Because we hadn't expected to be in the hospital for 6 days, we only had one set of keys with us. My husband didn't want to leave my side, so he ended up giving them to my mom so she could feed our animals while we were gone. By the time we were finally discharged, we realized we didn't even have a way to get into our own house, so my family had to be there to let us in. When we got home, I was actually touched by what she had done. She had made sure our beds were comfortable, set up the baby's bassinet, and even put fresh towels in the bathroom. It was one of those rare moments where I thought, maybe things are changing. It felt like she really wanted to help without overstepping. But of course, it didn't take long for things to take a turn. She had also decided to cook a brunch meal for us, which would have been great, except she left the kitchen in absolute chaos. Instead of coming home and resting, we had to spend time cleaning up after her. It wasn't the end of the world, but it was frustrating, like she only thought halfway through what would actually be helpful. Then came the boundary pushing. She was very eager for me to announce the birth. She kept bringing it up, saying things like, people are asking, and don't you just want to share your happiness? But the thing is, I was happy. I just didn't feel the need to broadcast it on social media just for her sake. I told her I wasn't ready, but she kept pushing, and it honestly put a sour taste in my mouth. And then, of course, the parenting advice started. According to her, I'm too attached to my baby and I'm holding him too much. You don't want to make him needy, she warned, as if giving my child love and comfort is a bad thing. She went on about how babies should be left to settle on their own, how I shouldn't spoil them by responding too quickly. Basically, the complete opposite of how I want to parent. She also made sure to remind me that she's raised so many kids and that we all turned out just fine because of how she did things. I couldn't help myself. I told her that actually none of us turned out all that great, and we all have our issues. The difference is I'm actively trying to work through mine instead of pretending they don't exist. I will be parenting my child my way, just like she got to parent hers her way. And honestly, after everything, my mental state has been all over the place. The birth was terrifying. I feel like anyone who has been through an emergency C-section will understand. It's such a mix of emotions. On one hand, I was excited to finally meet my baby boy. And on the other hand, I was praying I wasn't going to pass away before I even got the chance to. I've wanted to be a mother my entire life, so in that moment, everything felt overwhelming. I didn't even get to enjoy holding him when they passed him over the curtain. I was in and out of consciousness, barely able to process what was happening. I always imagined I'd have this emotional, beautiful moment where I saw him for the first time, but instead, I was just scared I'd never see him again. By the way, if you ever scared that you'll never see us again, I have fantastic news. You can go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app, and you can listen to full episodes of us.
No way.
For eternity. for until the space-time continuum collapses. You can have us there with you.
As long as you only listen to 1 hour a day.
Yeah.
So we got 53. That's a 53-day long eternity.
But we're continuing to add more. So it's just
you only listen to 1 hour a day.
Yes.
Then you'll never ever make any progress.
If you listen like a reasonable human, you will quite literally never run out of content. So check out the podcast.
It's true.
Okay,
It's
stories.
true.
Through it all, my husband has been absolutely amazing. He has supported me every single moment, picking up the baby when I can't, feeding him when I can't, helping me get him changed, wiping me, showering me. I truly don't think I would be okay if it weren't for his support. I just wanted to give you all an update and say thank you for all the advice you've given me. This whole experience has been nothing like I expected, but I am taking it all one day at a time. And just to close off, shout out to OP for having to navigate a insane childhood, a insane adulthood with her mother. Very scary and intense experience of the C-section. OP, you're a champion, and shout out to W husband. And this is what it looks like, I think, to really try and be healthy and grow and just be a better person.
Well said, my guy.
Guys, we're going to reason with the fact that we have to go right now. Don't
true.
worry. We have more episodes coming. Literally, we're recording them right now. So don't you worry. And if you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow.